Hokage I can fully level up with one click. Chapter 161-180. Chapter 161 _ Return to Konoha Ninja Village. Anyone else? Lois breathed a sigh of relief. They are also able to explain to Kumogakure Village as long as there is a clue. However, before they could react, there was a sound of breaking air all around, rushing in. Dozens of Kumogakure, full of evil spirits, fought on the ruins. Master I, there is still the smell of Lord Raikage's chakra here. A perception ninja said solemnly after forming the hand seal of his hands. There are still a lot of bloodstains left. I am afraid that the 3 generations of Lord Raikage have suffered heavy damage. Quote. When the voice fell, under the special perception ninjutsu, the 3 generations of Raikage were finally killed under the soil. As if shrouded by an invisible force, the soil turned out, and there was a drop of Yuhi's blood. The violent scene made Lois's face change drastically. He never imagined that reinforcements from Kumogakure Village would come so quickly. At the same time with such a strange perception ninja. Okay, very good, I can actually hurt my father and hand him over, otherwise don't blame our Kumogakure Village for being rude. I said coldly with a sullen face. When he came, he had already planned for the worst, but he didn't expect that it would turn out like this. Listen to my explanation, we just arrived. Lois's face was ashen, and after a moment of hesitation, he said, when we came, we saw the 3rd generation of Raikage with our own eyes and killed ourselves. Kill yourself. Kumogakure turned ashen. In their eyes, this excuse is too bad. Damn, Lois, is your Iwagakure Village deceiving people too much? Ai's face sank, and he shouted sharply, well, I'll see today, what ability do you have to convince me of this absurd statement? The awe-inspiring roar fell, and the thunder light flowed all over the body, and a lightning bolt quickly attacked Lois head-on. Lois's face turned ashen, and in this situation, he was simply speechless, so he could only bite the bullet and meet him. 3 days later, at the gate of Konoha Ninja Village, the morning sun shrouded in front of the sealed gate like broken gold. The 2 guardian ninjas were on duty all night, and there was a trace of fatigue on their faces. Huxley, don't fall asleep. During this time, Lord Hokage has secretly issued the highest alert. The slightly older man, about 40 years old, dispelled his sleepiness a little, and quickly reminded. Senior Dongyu, I understand. Huxley patted his cheek, forcibly cheered up, intending to use the topic to divert his sleepiness. Senior Dongyu, do you think the Uchiha clan forcibly held the 4th-generation Hokage election ahead of schedule? Who do you think will win? Since the 3 elders of the Uchiha family took out the promise of the last Hokage left by the 1st generation. Hokage election, which was planned to be held after the end of the 3rd Ninja World War, was forcibly brought forward. The 4 major battlefields have temporarily subsided. At this juncture, many ninjas were forcibly recalled. Among them are the powerful Konoha Bashi members, as well as the elite jonin of various ethnic groups. Even the Byakugan clan, which was sent to fight the village of Iwagakure, was recalled. For a time, the huge Konoha ninja village was shrouded in a feeling of depression. Hokage election was not finally held, which made this suppression more and more ineffective. This Hokage campaign, I heard that among Sanin, Jiraiya-sama's voice and Minato-sama's voice are the highest. As for the Uchiha clan, it seems that the crazy guy was recommended for election. Other clans, such as Kurama, Hyuga, Sarutobi, also participated, but from what I see, no one can compare with the 2 adults. As an old senior, Dongyu was just about to hand over his shift, so he touched the tip of his nose with nothing to do. However, as soon as those words fell, his pupils shrank suddenly. Looking at the thin figure that appeared beside him at an unknown time, his face changed drastically. He's back. Huxley looked pale and hurriedly took a half step back. At the same time, print a little bit of the communication technique that has already been hidden in the wrist. After doing all this, he watched with a look of shock at the young man who appeared out of nowhere like a ghost. Hee, it seems that a lot of things happened while I was away, show me the way. Chinyu smiled warmly. For Konoha's change, in fact, he did not take it to heart. If you can, don't bother. However, now that he is involved, Chinyu doesn't mind to see what tricks Danzo and the others are playing. Let him pass the time in this boring life. Are you going over? Huxi was taken aback. Uchiha Chinyu, the madman rumored in the village, should have a fierce flame and a suffocating aura. This reaction now made Huxi, who had just returned from the battlefield, feel that the boy in front of him seemed a little different from the rumors. Huxi, take him there, I'll stay here, Dongyu said in a deep voice. To Uchiha Chinyu looks very dangerous. But in times of war, Konoha's sealed gates are more important. Moreover, Dongyu believed that Chinyu would not be so absurd that he would do anything to the people in the village before the Hokage campaign. Huxi's expression was stagnant, and he was obviously unsure for a moment. Don't worry, I'm not interested in men, I just want to know what kind of farce they are making. Chinyu patted Hushi on the shoulder. The muscles all over his body suddenly tensed, watching Chinyu take the lead in walking towards the village. He glanced at Dongyu subconsciously, and after the latter nodded, he bit Kiba and quickly followed. There were not many people on the streets in the early morning. Huxi tightened his nerves and led the way in front of him, and at the same time he was full of vigilance. During this time, he had heard a lot about Konoha's bloody Asura's crazy actions. But this is the first time I've seen it with my own eyes. Are you learning the Raiden Thunder style clone? Chinyu glanced at the scroll in the ninja bag, and said with a smile, this thing requires the synchronization of hand seal and chakra conversion. Of course you can condense the Raiden Thunder style chakra in advance, and then cast it. Quote. Otherwise, if you act too hastily and perform 2 steps at the same time before there is no master, you will fail to condense, or consume a lot of chakra. Huxi, who was leading the way, couldn't help but stagnate. This Raiden Thunder style clone was exchanged by him not long ago, using a lot of records. Unfortunately, in the midst of war, everyone is busy with their own lives, and it is rare to be recalled and want to relax. So during this time, Huxi was exploring freely. It's just that he hit a wall for several days, which made him feel exhausted. Now that I heard Chinyu's words, I suddenly felt a sense of relief. He never thought that Chinyu, who was younger than him, could speak a few words, which directly broke his confusion. Do you also know the Raiden Thunder style clone? Hu Zailuo looked excited. On the battlefield, avatars are the most important means of life-saving such as spying and decoys. Chapter 162 The Secret of the Senju Clan. Raiden Thunder style clone. Chinyu raised his brows. In fact, Shadow Clone also has many kinds and various attributes. Shadow Clone created by the 2nd generation Hokage is an attributeless clone. It can match any attribute attack method, while reducing the chakra conversion and reducing the chakra consumption of the clone. Reduce the difficulty of clones, increase the number and duration of clones. But it is precisely because of these improvements that many ninjas who have learned Shadow Clone have done a lot of sneaky things. Various reasons, Shadow Clone was finally banned in the sealed book and became the forbidden technique of Konoha Ninja Village. The Raiden Thunder style clone, once displayed, is the most beneficial to use Raiden Thunder style ninjutsu, and other ninjutsu will be greatly reduced. At the same time, because it is a Raiden Thunder style clone, the chakra conversion speed of other attributes will also be greatly reduced. Compared with Shadow Clone, there are big drawbacks. No, I'm sorry, I lost my way. Huzai's expression froze, remembering Chinyu's identity, as if pouring cold water on his head, he suddenly woke up. Hee, don't be nervous, I said I don't like men. Chinyu smiled warmly and said, I can do Raiden Thunder-style clones, but I rarely use them, but I can demonstrate one or two. Hushi was startled when he heard the words. Chinyu's peacefulness completely overturned his hearsay cognition. However, just as this idea came into my mind, the pupils contracted suddenly in the next moment. I saw that Chinyu moved his hands and flew like a wheel. A series of complicated spells were formed in just a short breath. This was 7 or 8 times faster than the fastest speed he knew. Bang bang bang. A series of small sonic booms came suddenly. Doppelgangers entwined with thunderlight appeared out of thin air. Huxi, who was still in shock, almost split his eyes. Look at the densely packed, at least hundreds of Raiden Thunder-style clones. Finally understand, what is the gap? Okay, this is the Raiden Thunder-style clone, but with your physique, it should be easy to reach this standard. Chinyu smiled and scattered the Raiden Thunder-style clone. Hushi couldn't help but startled and said with a wry smile, Chinyu, you are holding me up too high. However, the first time we met, you could see my physique, and the blood-colored Asura really lived up to its reputation. For this kind of appreciation, Chinyu did not take it to heart. Looking at the huge circle in front of me, it looks like a venue like the Colosseum in ancient Rome. Chinyu knew that this was the place where ceremonies, Chunin exams and Hokage elections were always held in Konoha Ninja Village. 2 figures swept out quickly from inside, and instantly landed in front of Chinyu. Lord Jiraiya, clan elder sister. Huxi hurriedly returned to his senses, and when he saw the 2 who appeared, he suddenly became nervous. Huxi, it seems that you survived on the battlefield. Tsunade glanced at it lightly and said, don't die too soon, otherwise, no one in our clan will be the clan leader. Hushi was obviously used to this kind of rude remarks, and said with a wry smile, Clan sister, I have been very careful, but in this war, many of the elders of the clan still stayed on the battlefield. Quote. End of the day, Senju Huxi's face had a hint of sadness. Tsunade was obviously used to it, and the coldness on his face was even worse, and said, HMPH, I think those old stubborn people will sooner or later be dragged down by the so-called Hokage spirit and Konoha will to the point of extermination. As soon as you enter the battlefield, you know that the enemy is targeting the Senju family, but you don't even know how to retreat. If you have to fight to the end for your dignity, you should be damned. The small voice changed the atmosphere in the field. Chinyu raised his brows. The descriptions of the Senju family were very few in the original books. Except for Senju Tsunade, the other so-called clansmen didn't even have a chance to show up. Chinyu has always wondered if this is Hokage's biggest bug, but he never thought that Tsunade would break the key. As Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama, the descendants of 2 peerless Hokage. A god of ninjas, Senju Hashirama, who holds the 9-tailed beast as a toy, has overwhelmed the 4 nations. Right now, the first Hokage and the second Hokage have rarely fallen, allowing other shinobi villages to rise up in the long-term oppression. For other shinobi villages, it is absolutely unwilling to let this kind of thing repeat. Senju clan appears on the battlefield, they will kill all of them by any means. The Senju family knew that they had this special courtesy. But the so-called shackles of honor of a family, like a spell, let them know that it was a trap, and they had to go to the battlefield and go deep into the enemy's line. Euphemistically, the idea of exchanging 1 for 1 is not a loss, and the idea of exchanging 1 for 2 is profitable, which eventually led to the withering of the whole family. Tsunade scoffed at this idea after Nawaki and Duan died. Every time I see people in the clan, I will be ridiculed coldly. Okay, Tsunade, you keep doing this, be careful of the old stubborn in your clan, and I'll give you another scolding. Jiraiya couldn't stand it anymore, and quickly changed the subject. Since Chinyu is back, it seems that he has been arguing during this time. Question, and finally a decision has to be made. Quote. Huxi, let us lead the way. If you are tired, go back to rest. These words, Jiraiya patted Chinyu's shoulder and said, You brat, you are too hard on Mount Myoboku. If it wasn't for Minato, I wouldn't believe it. Chinyu didn't plan to hide the matter of Mount Myoboku at first, and said with a dry smile, We'll talk about it later. I heard that this time the Hokage campaign is ahead of schedule. It was proposed by the Uchiha family. Was it my uncle's idea? For Uchiha Fugaku's cognition, Chinyu stayed in the original work. He clearly had the means of coaxing, but he had to pretend to be cowardly, and in the end he didn't resist at all and died at the hands of his precious son. This horse riding is too useless. If Uchiha Fugaku is willing to make a move, even if Obito and Uchiha Itachi join forces, I am afraid they will have to pay a heavy price. I thought you knew it. Jiraiya raised her brows and said, Now the head of your Uchiha clan is Uchiha Shi, and Fugaku has been staying in the heavily guarded mansion during this time. We avoided provoking conflicts, so we didn't approach them casually. However, according to the three elders of the Uchiha family, you represent the Uchiha family and participate in the Hokage campaign. The words fell, and the three people's eyes locked on Chinyu's body. I want to see the truth from the change in his expression. Hee, I didn't expect to leave for a while, and someone put it on the stage. It seems that it will rub against my nose. Chinyu touched the tip of his nose with a dry smile. The next Hokage campaign may not be that simple. Seeing the smile on Chinyu's face, Jiraiya shook his head with a wry smile and said, When you weren't here, we had a headache. Now that you're back, everyone is desperate for results. However, I hope you can restrain yourself next. We will arrange other things, even Hokage's election. Chapter 163-1 The Four Forbidden Techniques. Hee, I'm not afraid of trouble, I'm just afraid of trouble finding me. Chinyu smiled warmly and walked straight to the venue. Tsunade and Jiraiya's expressions couldn't help changing. After looking at each other, they turned around and quickly followed. Clan sister, what are your arrangements? She couldn't help but ask. Tsunade stopped, turned his head and glanced coldly and said, Huxi, don't leave this trip to the muddy water. I don't want even the Senju clan who can barely get on the stage. There is something wrong, hurry back to the clan's station. Quote. Those words, Tsunade quickly caught up with Jiraiya. As Chinyu set foot on the venue, Tsunade, Jiraiya and others clearly knew that a feeling of rain and wind had enveloped the entire Konoha ninja village. Handled properly, the entire Konoha may suffer a catastrophe. Anbu root sight, a little candle flickering in the darkness. The thumping sound of leaning on a cane echoed in the long and narrow corridor. Lord Danzo, Uchiha Chinyu is back, the Hokage campaign summit meeting will be held immediately. A thin figure appeared in front of Danzo like a ghost. Followed by Orochimaru with a pale face as white as paper, Yuhi the gorilla licked his cheek at a strange angle and said, Everything has been done, it will be a good show by then. At the same time, within the Uchiha clan, originally belonged to Uchiha Fugaku's mansion, three skinny old men walked out, wearing the cloak of the elders of the Uchiha clan, the Sharingan of the orangutan Yuhi, looking a bit infiltrating. Elder, he's back, the Hokage election Supreme Council will be held. Uchiha Shi hurriedly greeted him. As a garrison, they are often suppressed, but there are also a lot of eyeliners. Understood, let's go too. Uchiha said coldly. Our Uchiha family, we have been waiting for this day for a long time. The location of Hokage is ours. Uchiha Shi's expression was stagnant, and he said worriedly, Elder, is that method feasible, in case that kid doesn't want to? Regarding the madness of Konoha's blood-colored Asura, let alone on the battlefield, even anyone in the Konoha shinobi village has heard of it. Even Konoha's three big advisors, Danzo, dared to kill in public. He didn't believe that Uchiha Chinyu would easily follow their arrangement. Don't worry, don't forget that we still have hostages in our hands. He is arrogant, but as long as it's not cold-blooded, everything can only be a Hokage obediently. Uchiha's fiery old eyes flashed a haze, and he smiled playfully. With the arrival of Chinyu, the huge Konoha started running quickly. Whether it was the high level, or the civilians of Konoha, they were all disturbed. Gathered quickly to this place. In the huge venue, Tsunade looked at Huxi, who was standing cramped, and shouted coldly, "Huxi, didn't I tell you to go back to the clan? Why did you come here?" Looking at the murderous Tsunade, as the most talented Huxi of the Senju family, he said with a wry smile, "Sister clan, this is the highest meeting of the Hokage campaign, and I am also the representative of the Senju family. Also, I'd love to know who ended up being Hokage. So I want to stay here." "What's wrong?" Tsunade glared coldly and said, "You mean to tell me that my clan elder sister is no match for you?" "Clan sister?" Huxi gave a wry smile and cast a look of help at Jiraiya. Even the Senju clan has a headache, and the most talented Tsunade-sama after the two major Hokages, who is also holding Watu. In the past, except for good gambling, it was still reasonable, but after Naoki and Ruon's changes, everything is different. Tsunade is good, Huxi is already 20 years old, and everyone else has already left. Don't keep preaching to him. How can he say that he is only one step away from the elite Jonin? Jiraiya hurriedly cleared the siege road. There are already a lot of footsteps around, and someone will come soon. As soon as that kid comes here, he closes his eyes and doesn't speak. I'm a bit unaccustomed to it, you go and have a look. Although the level of ninjas was forcibly pulled up during this kind of war, but as descendants of the Senju clan, their physique and strength were placed above ordinary people. Same as Sanin, Jiraiya's speech is still a bit convincing. After Tsunade glared at Huxi, he turned and walked towards Chinyu. "Thank you, Lord Jiraiya." Huxi gave a helpless smile, glanced at Chinyu, and said, "Jiraiya, do you have a decision in your heart? I don't think Chinyu is a bad person." "Really?" Jiraiya glanced back and sighed. "It seems that after you contacted him, you also found a blood-colored Asura, which is different from the rumors in the outside world. It's just that there are too few people who can contact him. We have a decision, but things will change a lot. No one can guess the final result. We can only try to minimize the conflict." Looking at the dignified Sanin, he also felt helpless. Huxi also fell into silence, secretly clenching his fists. For everything in the outside world, Chinyu did not take it to heart. Invincible is lonely. Although he has not yet reached this point, he also likes to add more color to the boring life. Otherwise, everyone will get moldy. If there is going to be trouble, Chinyu hopes that this farce will be even more violent. Let him have a good toss. Ding dang, it is detected that the host has learned the Hell Stab and the Four Hands. Is it a full level with one click? The ethereal voice of the system suddenly sounded in Chinyu's mind. After killing the third generation of Raikage that day, in order to hurry, I forgot all the ninjutsu scrolls one found. I thought that no one would go to the battlefield with a valuable ninjutsu scroll when participating in the war. And no one will carry the forbidden technique with them. However, cage-level powerhouses obviously cannot be evaluated with common sense. In their eyes, there may be no defeat at all, or even death. So Chinyu was lucky enough to get 4 forbidden technique scrolls on the body of the third-generation Raikage. The first of them is the Hell Thrust, 4 books, which is known as the strongest spear. At the moment of the pain in his free time, Chinyu remembered that these ninjutsu had not yet been recorded. Immediately one key to full level. Chinyu gave the order directly. "Host, please wait a moment." Congratulations to the host, Hell stab 4 books and 1 keys have been fully leveled. Obtain the raid in Thunder style, Profound Truth, the Hell thrust 1 book. Chang's narration made Chin Yu's face have a smile. He backhanded again, intending to take out another scroll, and saw that Tsunade was already sitting beside him. Tsunade is now in her 30s, but she still looks like she is in her early 20s as she is good at medical ninjutsu. The skin is as clear as suet white jade, and the body exudes a faint fragrance. Chapter 164 Konoha Rising Stars. Boy, if you stare at me again, I'll beat you to death. Tsunade glared fiercely. However, there was also a hint of Yuhi on his cheeks. After all, she was the one who took the initiative to sit next to Chin Yu, and in her eyes, Chin Yu, who is only 16 or 17 years old, should not be attracted by a woman like her, who is close to 30. Hehe, Lord Tsunade still has the same appearance, and he has the skills to keep his face, so I couldn't help but take a look. Chin Yu laughed dryly, not avoiding it at all. You. Tsunade exploded in an instant, and the crisp sound of the phalanx came out. He was about to give Chin Yu a direct punch, but he was soon discouraged. Do you remember Shizune? Shizune. Chin Yu rolled his eyes and said, of course you remember, isn't she at the front line? Yes, she was recalled from the stronghold a few days ago, and she will probably return to Konoha Shinobi Village today, but I can't find the contact information with you, so let me tell you. Tsunade said after a moment of hesitation. Chin Yu reluctantly touched the tip of his nose and said such words at this juncture. This horse riding is full of ignorance. Ha ha, little devil, I thought you just ran away. The voice of the 3 generations of Hokage came suddenly, breaking the awkward atmosphere in the field. Chin Yu and the others followed the sound and saw that behind the 3 generations of Hokage, there were 2 of Konoha's advisors, Homura Mitokado and Kaharu Utatane. However, the expressions of the 2 of them looked a little unsightly. Followed by the major Konoha clans, and other commoners and ninjas pouring in from all directions. As soon as those ninjas appeared, they were immediately alerted, diverting the crowd and guiding them to the auditorium. At the same time, manpower was dispatched to stand guard. For a time, everything went on in an orderly manner, just like the Chunin exam in the original Hokage book. Master Hokage, all the security arrangements have been completed, and the Konoha Seal Gate will be temporarily closed during this time. Shinku Yuhi threw himself down in front of the 3rd generation of Hokage, and couldn't help but glance at Chin Yu with a smile on his face. In the border defense stronghold, they also lived and died together. Although it is full of Chan oil, but at least it is a life and death comrade in arms. It was for this reason that the 3 generations of Hokage entrusted him with the task of security. Very well, this Hokage campaign is about the future of our Konoha ninja village. There is absolutely no room for change. Past campaigns will also open the door to seals, so there is absolutely no room for mistakes. 3 generations of Hokage nodded and said. However, the last words were clearly spoken to Chin Yu intentionally or unintentionally. Let the other patriarchs go and sit down. Jiraiya took the lead and instructed. Got it, Lord Jiraiya. Shinku Yuhi nodded in agreement, looked at Chin Yu and said, Boy, I haven't seen each other for a while, but I heard you've become stronger again. When you have time to see Yuhi, that girl has been burying herself in talking about improving her strength recently, so as not to drag her back next time, and stay at home like that, I'm afraid she won't be able to marry in the future. Haha, Shinku Yuhi, it's not good for you to push hard like this. Now is the age of young people. Moonlight Haya, who was standing beside him, smiled and nodded to Chin Yu, and directly pulled Yuhi Shinku Yuhi away. 3rd generation of Hokage touched his chin and said with a smile, Boy, it seems that you are very popular, but it's not too early, so please slow down the old things, and deal with the business first. Ladies and gentlemen, you should also go and wait for 1 or 2. These words, the 3 generations of Hokage also went to the top of the high platform. Where is the position of the high-level advisors of Hokage and Konoha village, and the positions on both sides are the seats reserved for the major families of Konoha Ninja village. As for the Uchiha family, there are also, but they are specially assigned to the side. Is that the Hokage campaign representative of the Uchiha family, the blood-colored Asura Uchiha Chinyu? As soon as the patriarchs sat down, their eyes fell on Chinyu, intentionally or unintentionally. It can be said that the Hokage campaign this time is because of Chinyu. But their ethnic groups are also eligible for election. However, whoever wants to come out on top in front of Konoha's blood-colored Asura still needs to weigh a thing or two. Hihi, you Yamanaka clan, do you want to compete for the seat of the 4th generation Hokage? The old man of the Nara clan laughed dryly and said, if so, I can support and let Ino Shikacho's reputation spread far and wide. Quote. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of other family representatives also lit up slightly. In the Third Ninja World War, in addition to the yellow flash of Konoha, there are many Konoha ninjas who have made a name for themselves in the ninja world. Among them, the descendants of the Nara, Yamanaka, and Akamichi 3 tribes also broke into the prestige of Ino Shikacho. Old man Nara, you are not afraid of the wind blowing your tongue. The old patriarch of the Yamanaka clan glared at him and said, how much do our 3 clans have? It's okay to brag outside, but if you run for the Hokage seat, you should wash and sleep. Bar. According to what I said, the main Klaniashi of the Hyuga clan is Grandmaster Gentle Fist and Byakugan. It is a powerful means of absolute defense, and also has prestige in the ninja world, enough to hold the seat of the 4th generation of Hokage. Hyuga clan, who was sitting at the top of the patriarchs, almost spit out a sip of tea, glared at the group of old men, and said, you are all afraid that the world will not be chaotic. Hazashi is good, but Konoha's water how deep, are you still going to roll up your trousers and try it? I'm not afraid of drowning directly. Having said that, the old patriarch Hyuga looked at the seat on the other side and said, the Sarutobi clan, the eldest son of the 3 generations of Hokage, and Shinosuke, one of the 8 colors of Konoha, is very powerful and has a lot of prestige, and should be qualified to serve as the 4th generation of Hokage. Seat. Quote. The genius demonic illusion ninja of the Kurama clan, Kurama Shirakawa, at only 18 years old, has already reached the elite Jonin level, and is the only clan that can overwhelm the Uchiha clan in demonic illusion attainments. It cannot be ignored. The Senju Huxi of the Senju family, Grandmaster Suiten, water style, has the style of the 2nd generation of Hokage. It is rumored that he is still studying Raiden, thunder style, combining ninjutsu with ninjutsu, intending to deduce it to ultimate, and develop a more powerful ninja. He is also very active on the battlefield. Quote. Seeing that the old patriarch Hyuga was like a treasure, the patriarchs around him also listened with relish and took a sip of tea from time to time. By the way, old man Hyuga, you seem to have neglected the Hitaki clan and the Namikaze clan. Chief Nara, who always feared that the world would not be chaotic, interjected. You don't think they are qualified, do you? The old patriarch Hyuga glared at him, but he knew that this Konoha-wise general liked to run around the train with his mouth full of words, and he didn't care about it. He pinched the white beard and said, Hitaki clan, if White Fang is still there, I am afraid he has the seat of the 4 generations of Hokage. There is a 70% chance, but unfortunately the mission of the day failed, so that he couldn't get out of the hurdle in his heart, and it was terrifying. The Hitaki family was originally a small number, but this generation produced a Hitaki Kakashi. The son of White Fang lived up to his reputation. He became a Jonin at the age of 13. Chapter 165 An existence that cannot be commented on. Old man Hyuga, do you think this Kakashi will achieve higher achievements in the future? I heard that there was a battle at Shinwukun Bridge, but something big happened. The old patriarch Nara continued. The old patriarch Hyuga glared again and said, Nara, you big mouth, have you never heard of it, so you keep telling me. You keep interrupting me. Looking at the complaining old man Hyuga, the old patriarch Nara didn't take it seriously and waved his hands again and again. You continue, you continue. HMPH, with Hatake Kakashi's talent, over time, I'm afraid not only will I be able to get the true biography of White Fang, but I'm afraid it will be better than before. In Konoha Shinobi Village, it's not like our group of old men can compare. The old patriarch Hyuga snorted angrily and continued. Road. As for Minato of the Namikaze family, a contemporary genius, the yellow flashes on the battlefield are frightening, not only in character, but also in character and strength. Seats at Hokage. Quote. Hearing Namikaze Minato's name, the old guys present nodded in agreement and asked themselves. Seeing the changes in the expressions of the crowd, the old patriarch of Hyuga was also very pleased, with a smile on his face, and said, don't forget, there are the second Sanin, Jiraiya and Tsunade, if they participate, I'm afraid even Minato and the like. Younger generation, you have to line up behind. Quote. Don't forget, Sanin was brought out by the third generation of Hokage, Namikaze Minato was also a disciple of Jiraiya, and Tsunade was the granddaughter of the first generation of Hokage, with a profound background. Faced with this remark, all the patriarchs present also looked stagnant, and glanced at Tsunade and Jiraiya more. Since the defection of Orochimaru in Sanin, Sanin has disappeared from Konoha Ninja Village. This time, not only Jiraiya is personally in charge of the Hokage campaign, but Tsunade is also back. It is enough to prove the seriousness of the situation this time. Hee, old man Hyuga, you still like to give pointers. The old man hasn't come out for so long, and I want to hear what Shisui and Chinyu of our Uchiha clan have to say. An old voice broke the field in an instant. The atmosphere seemed a little out of place. Uchiha clan wearing Konoha garrison uniforms, led by three old men, walked quickly. Among them, Uchiha Fugaku and the others were also surrounded by the group, and the Uchiha stone on the side would sweep over Fugaku and the others with a wary look every time they took a few steps. Facing the unfathomable and unfathomable Uchiha Chinyu, they had no confidence and left the hostages in the mansion. In their eyes, Uchiha Chinyu would only cast his arms on the big event of running for Hokage in front of the entire Konoha Ninja Village. By the way, I've forgotten about it, the old fool. You didn't count Itachi. He is only 7 years old now, but he graduated from the ninjutsu school. Uchiha touched Itachi's head with a thin hand. Bundle. Uchiha Itachi was full of hatred for this kind of behavior, but for the sake of his parents and safety, he could only silently bite Kiba and endure it. His big black eyes kept scanning the field. When he saw Chinyu's figure, his eyes lit up. HMPH, old man who I have no interest in paying attention to you Uchiha clan, but the names of these three people are spit out from your mouth. It seems that you 3.5 feet can set foot on the coffin old man, you value them very much. Hyuga old patriarch snorted coldly. The face of Uchiha's display of fire, he was obviously dissatisfied. However, in the face of all this, Uchiha Huo didn't take it to heart, and said with a dry smile, since old Hyuga, you didn't pay attention, then keep an eye on it in the future, our Uchiha family is a 3-day talent. Oh, I forgot to tell you that Makoto's child is pregnant again. In case of another brother who is 1/3 of Itachi, it should be considered a little genius. Having said this, Uchiha's cheeks like fire and bark flashed a hint of pride, and yawned, you don't mind, I'm just a bit more direct. Lord Hokage is looking here, and it is not easy to continue to delay time. As the initiator of the Hokage campaign, I will go to rest first, you continue. After leaving this show of Kai Guago, Uchiha Huo swaggered to the independent position with a group of juniors. Damn, this old man Huo hasn't come out for a long time, and he will be dragged to the sky soon. The old patriarch of the Inuzuka family was obviously a little anxious. After a cold snort, He finally couldn't hold his breath. The old patriarchs all over the place also expressed their opinions. Facing this kind of show-off of Kai Guago, they couldn't take this breath in their hearts. Okay, let's not be unconvinced. This time the Uchiha clan is indeed a little pervert. The old patriarch Hyuga waved his hand, and the anger on his face disappeared. The cloudy old eyes swept across the people of the Uchiha family, and finally landed on Chinyu, who was sitting alone in the auditorium. Among the Uchiha clan, that kid Fugaku was originally unintelligible. He had been the patriarch for more than 20 years without any means, but he couldn't hold back those guys. The old patriarch Hyuga continued. Also, Shisui and the genius Uchiha Itachi cannot be ignored. Compared with Minato, Shisui is only one line behind. Facing this remark, the old patriarch present was silent. He was dissatisfied in his heart, but he couldn't deny it in his mouth, and his strength was in front of him. A 3-day talent, how brilliant this is. In any ninja village, it can definitely overwhelm other families. Old man Hyuga, did you forget to comment on that Uchiha Chinyu? The old patriarch Nara said suddenly. This time, there was less of a hippie smile and a little more solemnity, which made others feel that the atmosphere had changed. It can be said that all the changes this time, as well as the troubles of the Uchiha family, all came from this person. But the Third Ninja World War was able to end early, and the damage to Konoha Ninja Village was reduced. This young man also has indelible credit. If really ask them to find an adjective. The young man in front of them gave them the feeling that they were both good and evil. The old patriarch Hyuga was silent, and after staring at Chinyu for a while, he shook his head and sighed. I can't see through, I really can't see through, this kid is the only existence I can't see through, and he has lived a long life. Years old, never thought there would be such a strange person. Quote. Obviously a genius, but he has been lurking for more than 10 years. Once he shows his edge, it gives people an unfathomable feeling. He is an existence that I can't comment on. As soon as those words fell, there was a dead silence in the arena. Perhaps it was because the Hyuga clan, the third largest clan after the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan, were very strict in their behavior and manners on weekdays, so no one in the audience refuted the comments of the old Hyuga clan. There was no verbal rebuttal. If it is said that they were able to chat and laugh just now, but now when Uchiha Chinyu is mentioned, it feels as if there is a big mountain in their hearts, making people unable to breathe. Chapter 166_Clean Solution. Chinyu, you are finally back. Uchiha Shisui suddenly landed in front of Chinyu. Uncle and the others fell into the hands of the three elders. I hope you don't be impulsive. The appearance of the three elders and the situation of Uchiha Fugaku and others early in the morning. Turning his eyes slightly, he met Uchiha's fire. Hehe, Xiaoyu, we meet again. The auditorium where Chinyu was and the seat of the Uchiha clan were only a dozen meters apart. This also shows the situation in which the Uchiha family is excluded. Elder Huo, let me bring him back. Uchiha Shi's face darkened, he turned and walked towards Chinyu. For any one person, ambition is everywhere. Especially after gaining power, greed is born. The head of the Uchiha clan is very good, but if possible, Uchiha Shi wants to go further. Although, he knew that this was an extravagant hope, but in the current situation, let this hateful kid make a fool of himself in public, and at the same time kill his spirits, clearly knowing that his current situation is not bad. Thinking of this, a playful smile appeared on Uchiha Shi's face, walking towards Chinyu with steps that he did not recognize. Uchiha Shisui's face changed slightly, and he clearly understood Uchiha Shi's thoughts. He couldn't help but lowered his voice and reminded, Chinyu, wait a while, no matter what happens, you have to hold back, we will solve it. Oh, Chinyu smiled warmly, so you already have a solution, this should be considered good news. The voice fell, Uchiha Shisui couldn't help but stunned, this was too smooth, right? However, before he could speak, Uchiha Stone had already arrived first. Uchiha Chinyu, you're finally back. The three elders have a request, hurry up and say hello. Uchiha Stone looked up and down and smiled playfully. By the way, now the head of the Uchiha clan is me. You call me Patriarch Shi, and if you want Fugaku and Itachi to be safe, just listen to me and do it, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. Looking at Chinyu, who was indifferent, Uchiha raised his hand and planned to pat Chinyu's cheek lightly in public. If this move is successful, it will be in front of the entire Konoha shinobi village. It's definitely an honor. Who dares to be so arrogant and slap the bloody Asura in the face in public? However, as soon as the hand came out, a thunderlight flashed in front of him in an instant. The blood arrows splashed down, and the huge heads were thrown into the air, causing everyone's pupils to shrink suddenly. Uchiha Shi's pupils shrank suddenly, his face full of disbelief, the world that was spinning that day. There was also the familiar headless body standing on the spot, so he didn't think that Chinyu would kill him without a word. Do not. It should be said, not even a word. Boom. The huge head slammed on the ground heavily, and the blood splashed down, shaking the nerves of everyone in the field. Crazy. This is the venue for the Hokage campaign, and it is too shocking to kill people in public. Chinyu, what are you doing? Uchiha Shisui's face changed drastically. He had imagined that Chinyu would not cooperate, but he never imagined that he would kill someone if he didn't agree. Nothing. Chinyu smiled warmly. I just like it the most, others are welcome. This also saves me, I always play favor cards. Chinyu looked at the three of Uchiha and said, do you think they can be your bargaining chips? Wrong. The small voice was like the death god urging life. The crackling thunder light burst out from Chinyu's body in an instant. The next moment, everyone just felt a flower in front of them. Uchiha Chinyu crossed more than 10 meters like a thunderbolt, and appeared in front of Uchiha Fire in the blink of an eye. Do it, don't make any reservations. Uchiha's expression suddenly changed dramatically, and the withered bark-like cheeks were full of disbelief. He never imagined that things would completely deviate from his calculations. Forbidden Technique Seal of Fire. 5 Uchiha clan members flashed out in an instant, with horn-like postures. The moment they were in the air, their hands quickly formed a series of magic marks. Boom! The flames erupted directly in their bodies, condensed into 5 fiery snakes out of thin air, and turned into pikes and rushed straight towards Chinyu. However, as soon as he approached, the blood-colored pupil power was turned frantically by the 9-tomo Sharingan. It turned into an invisible barrier, and instantly blocked the incoming fire snake. Susanoo like Shira. The violent scene shook everyone's nerves. People from the outside world know that the head of the Uchiha clan suddenly changed and Fugaku was placed under house arrest. There must be a conflict within the family. This is the most common thing. However, no one thought that Chinyu's solution would be so neat. As soon as they meet, they kill. This is too cruel. 9-tomo Sharingan. The cloudy eyes of the old patriarch Hyuga couldn't help but light up, and said, is this the powerful pupil technique that only Uchiha Madara possesses in the Uchiha clan? Although I have already heard about it, seeing it with my own eyes is really shocking, but how does the old man Huo plan to deal with it? As soon as these words came out, there was a hint of urgency on everyone's faces. With the help of 5 Jonin from the Uchiha family, he displayed a forbidden barrier to restrict Chinyu. Uchiha Huo and the others also retreated and quickly pulled away. At the same time, Uchiha Huo suddenly clasped his hands together and roared in anger. Go! As soon as the old violent drink fell, dozens of Uchiha clan members started Sharingan one after another. Triple Tomo, Double Tomo abound, among which Uchiha fire turbid left eye turned out to be the three-pointed star Mangekyo. It seems that in addition to Uchiha Madara, in these blank decades, the Uchiha family also had an unknown family history. Just turned on a Mangekyo Sharingan, which is intriguing. Demonic illusion eye overlapping space. Uchiha fires awe-inspiringly, and the only Mangekyo Sharingan turns frantically under. Sharingan pupil power of the surrounding Uchiha clan members fluctuated, and the synchronization appeared in an instant. The next moment, there was an unbelievable scene. All the Uchiha people, their eyes turned into the three-pointed star Mangekyo at the same time. A huge wave of demonic illusion rushed towards Chinyu like a frenzy. Kurama Chinyan, if you don't do it now, when will you wait? Uchiha roared again and again. Chinyu's violent upheaval has completely disrupted his plans. The only thing that can be done is to strengthen the demonic illusion's power to the ultimate through the demonic illusion's eyes and the Sharingan pupil power of all the clansmen. Directly changed the memory of Uchiha Chinyu and became a puppet of his subordinates. It can be said that this move is similar to Uchiha Shisui's pupil technique. Chapter 167 Demonic Illusion I Colorful Magic Dragon. Kurama Chinyan, don't forget what you promised me. Uchiha tried his best to drive the three-pointed star Mangekyo Sharingan to ultimate. Gorilla Yuhi's blood spilled out of his pupils. However, in the face of this scene, Uchiha still did not dare to take it lightly. In the huge Konoha ninja village, except for the Yuhi Shinku Yuhi Grandmaster Demonic Illusion, it is the Kurama family who can overwhelm the Uchiha family. So before the Hokage campaign, Uchiha had been secretly colluding with the Kurama family. Sharingan to bring the unique demonic illusion talent of the Kurama family to ultimate in such a sudden situation. Completely destroy Chinyu's consciousness and make him his own consciousness puppet. This powerful force has already made Uchiha salivate. Kurama Chinyan's wrinkled cheeks trembled involuntarily. Originally, according to his agreement, after the Uchiha family seized the Hokage position, they would attack Chinyu in private. Now suddenly he has also been publicly pulled into the water. But looking at the Susanoo displayed by Uchiha Chinyu, he suddenly stopped. This unconscious action made Kurama Chinyan's face show a hint of joy. Demonic illusion works. As long as he works harder and uses Uchiha's three-pointed star Sharingan's ability to bring demonic illusion together, Chinyu's personal consciousness may really be washed away. At that time, as long as the Uchiha clan seizes the position of Hokage, their Kurama clan, which is gradually dying, will have a way to change. Go. Thinking of this, Kurama Chinyan started drinking in a hurry. The 7 or 8 clansmen who followed behind him set off one after another. Hands suddenly hand seal, and the powerful demonic illusion fluctuations emerged instantly. In an instant, with the power of the three-pointed star Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Fire, it was strengthened. Dozens of people shot at the same time, and the violent demonic illusion gathered into a huge colorful Uzumaki in the void. The next moment, a trace of madness flashed across Uchiha's fire face, and he roared loudly. Demonic illusion I colorful magic dragon. Arrogant boy, just go to sleep obediently. If you want to blame yourself, you are too arrogant, and you don't want to obey our arrangements. A hysterical roar echoed in the sky. At the moment when Uchiha Fire put his hands together, the huge colorful Uzumaki accumulated in the sky seemed to be pulled. Roar. The sound of the dragon's roar ripped apart 9 days, and the tens of meters of huge colorful phantom dragons turned into a pair of drills and slammed directly towards Chinyu. Susanoo wrapped around his body, known as a means of absolute defense, was directly passed through as if transparent at this moment. There was no Uchiha Chinyu, there was any defensive move, the colorful magic dragon, directly drilled into his body. Boom! The roar of the air echoed, and everyone just saw Chinyu's body trembling slightly, and Susano, who was known as an absolute defense, collapsed with a bang. A pair of eyes seemed to have lost their expression. Success. Flash of ecstasy flashed across the second elder Uchiha dragon's face. This time, it was a desperate move. After all, Chinyu's methods are unfathomable, and they have heard a lot about it. So even if a plan was made at the beginning, it was planned to combine the demonic illusion ability of the Kurama family with the pupil power of the Uchiha family, and then drive the three-pointed star Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Fire to display the colorful magic dragon. It may seem simple, but every step is linked together. If anything goes wrong, it is absolutely impossible to subdue Uchiha Chinyu, who is known as Konoha Scarlet Ashura. Not to mention washing away memories and becoming a puppet in their hands. It's still an accident, Jiraiya, hurry up and stop them. 3 generations of Hokage's expression changed drastically, and he shouted anxiously. This seems to be a tedious scene, but in fact, from Uchiha Chinyu violently killing people, to Uchiha Huo's direct showdown, displaying the colorful magic dragon of the three-pointed star Mangekyo Sharingan. Before and after, but only half a minute. In addition to being shocked, there was no time to react. Jiraiya didn't stop for a while, and took the lead in performing the teleportation technique and disappeared in place. Looking at this scene, the 3 generations of Hokage couldn't hold back their breath and stood up. Sarutobi, isn't this the best chance to solve the woes? Homura Mitokado suddenly grabbed the hand of the 3 generations of Hokage. Facing these words, Kaharu Udatane nodded silently. In their eyes, it is a good thing that the Uchiha clan has now taken action to solve the trouble of Uchiha Chinyu. It's just that this idea just sprouted in their minds, and the next words that fell in their ears made their nerves tense. You guys, it's too easy to think about that kid. The 3rd generation Hokage broke free from Homura Mitokado's hand and said, I'm just afraid that someone can't hold back. Abandoning this, inexplicably speaking. 3 generations of Hokage did not stop for a while, pulled out and performed the instant body technique, and disappeared in place. The 3rd elder, Uchiha Yu, was always paying attention to the movements on the Hokage stage. Seeing that Jiraiya and the 3rd generation of Hokage shot at the same time, he couldn't hold his breath and shouted sharply, Fire, hurry up and use the sealing technique. Stop. Fell, Uchiha Yu didn't stop for a while, and took the children of the clan and rushed to Jiraiya and the 3rd generation of Hokage. The violent scene made the 2 of them, who were in a hurry, tied their hands and feet. With the idea of making big things small and small things small, they looked at the Uchiha clan standing in front of them, and they made a move. Can only watch Uchiha Fire helplessly, took out the seal scroll. The scroll with a height of about 1 meter was opened directly. This is a bit similar to the 4th Ninja World War. When dealing with impure world reincarnation, various seals were written down on the scroll in advance. At critical times, the seal can be cast without the need for hand seal and human hands. Although the power cannot be guaranteed, but now Chinyu has a colorful magic dragon in his body. This seal is just within reach. Seal. Uchiha roared angrily, and the scroll in his hand quickly unfolded, like a piece of cloth, and wrapped around Chinyu's body quickly. Seeing that, Chinyu was instantly wrapped into a mummy-like shape, and there were mysterious patterns of magic seals all over the seal, forming the final suppression. Uchiha's face was filled with joy, and he hurried off before he had time to think about it. Whizzing. Several bursts of air suddenly sounded, and everyone's nerves were tense. Then I saw a series of shuriken, blazing down in the sky, directly blocking Uchiha Fire's action. At the same time, 2 figures descended from the sky and landed on the side of the sealed Chinyu. Hee, I didn't expect such a good thing to be delivered to the door. Thank you for your gift. Danzo's hoarse voice sounded, the remaining half of his cheek was bandaged, showing ecstasy. Originally intended to be the finale of the show, which could disrupt the Hokage campaign at a critical moment. But the seal war that was staged in front of him completely made him unable to hold back. Chapter 168 Uchiha Forbidden Technique. The huge venue seemed dead silent. The violent scene was completely beyond the cognition of ordinary people. Especially seeing this superb offensive and defensive warfare. It's not as simple as throwing a few shuriken and kunai with you and me. Although Danzo's action lowered the grade, the intervention of various forces obviously made the whole thing even more unknown surprises. Danzo, how dare you ruin my good deeds? Uchiha's face changed drastically, and he growled angrily. This was the result that took him a lot of hard work and final means. However, at the time of this harvest, it was taken first. This feeling is that I took off my pants while riding a horse, and you told me I was a big eagle. Hee, old man Huo, thank you very much, I want to accept this thing. Danzo said with a playful smile, Tianzang, do it. Tianzang, who was hiding in the dark, suddenly clasped his hands together, and while frantically driving chakra in his body, he planned to secretly take away the sealed Chinyu from the ground. However, this idea had just emerged, and the next moment, the scene of the goal shook everyone's nerves. PFF'd. The blood splattered, giving people a shocking feeling. Inside the mummy-like seal, a hand entwined with lightning flashed out like a thunderbolt, directly piercing the back of Danzo's heart. Orangutan Yuhi shook everyone's nerves under the flickering thunder. Seeing Chinyu who came out of the seal with nothing at all, everyone gasped. A day of show, dozens of people joined forces, and with the help of the three-pointed star Mangekyo Sharingan, the colorful magic dragon that was displayed was useless at all. Let Danzo lose his life. This gift is a bit of a joke. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to see what means you have, but I didn't expect that the one who pressed the bottom of the box was just demonic illusion. Chinyu smiled genially. Slowly pulled his hand out of Danzo's chest, and the blood-stained right hand rubbed against his clothes. Don't worry, Danzo is an old guy, but he won't die. Chinyu patted the dust on his body, looked at Uchiha Huo and said, then it's my turn now. The small voice was like a death urging at this moment. Chinyu, don't mess around, we just want to recommend you to become Hokage, don't forget that we still have hostages in our hands. Uchiha became anxious. Even the biggest killer can't wash away Chinyu's consciousness, not to mention that even his pupil power is overdrawn. However, at the moment of turning back, there are some hostages behind him. The scene that seemed to win the game just now made them completely ignore the existence of Uchiha Fugaku and others. Moreover, they still underestimate this former family patriarch. In the original work, Mangekyo Sharingan can be used to deter the existence of Uchiha Itachi. That's not a fuel-efficient lamp. Retreat, everyone retreat for me. Uchiha froze for a moment, then woke up in a hurry, roaring in a hurry. It's too late, my lovely elder. Chinyu smiled warmly. At this moment, it gives people a feeling like death is urging life. The moment when his eyes were round, Jutomo Mangekyo Sharingan turned frantically. Amaterasu. Black flames ignited without warning on Uchiha Fire's body. Sweetened water style, water dragon bullet. Uchiha Dragon quickly formed a spell with both hands. It rushed directly towards Uchiha Fire. Boom. Water splashed, although it was deliberately suppressing the power of the water dragon bullet, it was just to save people. But in the face of the flames that were still burning in the water, people's face turned pale. Is this the rumored black flame that cannot be extinguished? Someone couldn't help but point it out first. I heard that the blood-colored Asura controls the three major pupil techniques, Amaterasu who cannot be extinguished, demonic illusion who is like a dream demon, and Susanoo who is absolutely defensive. Anything is enough to make people laugh at the ninja world. The scene suddenly boiled, and many people's faces changed dramatically. But there are also some nympho-casts with strange eyes, and some juniors, flashing with awe and respect. It can be said that any person has a heroic dream in his heart. Under this kind of public gaze, the resolute means can be said to shake people's hearts. Chin-yu, that's it. Uchiha Fugaku's voice suddenly sounded. He who had disappeared, brought Itachi and Makoto, and reappeared in the field, saying, "They are always the elders of the Uchiha clan, and at the same time, the starting point is not wrong, they just use the wrong means. And, if you do, it's enough." Fugaku, who suddenly appeared and talking to the Virgin, Chin-yu smiled and shook his head. "Uncle, you are still the same. Do you know that this will eventually destroy the entire Uchiha family? When the break is constant, you will be in chaos. However, since you helped me grow up, this time I will repay your kindness," Chin-yu said lightly. Voice fell, and the 9-tomo Sharingan turned again, and Amaterasu was released instantly. However, due to this delay, the Uchiha fire has already grown half of the coke. Elder Fire. Uchiha Shisui fell to his side instantly and hurriedly checked. It's just that he had just driven Sharingan, and the next moment reflected in his pupils shook their nerves. Uchiha Fire, who had already turned into coke, suddenly opened the only remaining right eye, and his right hand went straight to Shisui's left eye like lightning. At such a close distance, Shisui possesses a powerful telekinesis technique. But it never occurred to me that Uchiha, who was seriously injured, would burst into flames and grab his eyes like someone who had nothing to do with it. You really know the forbidden technique of the Uchiha family. A playful voice suddenly came. While Uchiha Huo's face changed dramatically, a figure entwined with lightning flashed down in midair like a thunderbolt. Raiden Thunder style, the righteous axe sinks into the thunder. Boom. The kick that held the thunderous gesture, instantly collided with Uchiha's hand. Shisui was also pulled away by Fugaku Kankan, and he just retreated 7 or 8 meters. That shocking kick slammed heavily on Uchiha's chest. Boom. Blood splashed, and the whole person was like a watermelon, and was directly smashed. The ground was even more overwhelmed, and the crash collapsed, spreading out cracks like spider webs. The place with a radius of 100 meters collapsed directly and sank abruptly by 5 or 6 meters. The stone that flew upside down, like a sharp blade, made people withdraw and retreat. After all the dust dissipated, the scene that fell in the eyes of everyone shook the nerves. Uchiha, who had been shattered by Chin-yu's foot, was standing more than 10 meters away. His eyes were closed, and blood was pouring out of his eyes, dyeing the clothes on Yuhi's chest. Uchiha Fire, who was originally dead and could no longer die, stood alive in front of everyone's eyes. The strange scene makes people tremble, and the forbidden technique of the Uchiha family that Chin-yu refers to emerges in his mind. Chapter 169 _ A one-sided situation. Uchiha Chin-yu, you are really amazing. Uchiha Huo said with a gloomy expression. If you listen to us and accept the arrangement to become Hokage, this is for the honor of the family, why are you resisting? For any Uchiha tribe to be infused with the idea, it is to become the strongest of the tribe, and then to seize the Hokage position that even the ancestor Uchiha Madara wanted to get involved. This is the highest honor. It can be said that in the heart of the last Chin-yu, although he was a mediocre to ultimate person, he also had this kind of ideological burden. It is a pity that the Chin-yu in front of him is no longer the Chin-yu of the past. Sorry, I'm not interested in your intrigues and family missions. Chin-yu glanced lightly, beside Uchiha Shisui and Fugaku, and said, I'm not like those idiots, then the Virgin Mary. These remarks did not identify the identity, but Rao was Uchiha Fugaku and Shisui, and his cheeks couldn't help but get hot. Just now, they wanted to show kindness to save the dying Uchiha Fire, and almost even the Sharingan of Uchiha Shisui was dug up. This is totally being struck by lightning with good intentions. However, the current situation is still in. I am afraid I should first think about how to clean up the mess. Chin-yu, don't be too impulsive. Jiraiya fell to Chin-yu's side first. Jiraiya still had lingering fears when she recalled the attack that had been linked one by one just now. Especially the colorful phantom dragon, even he is not sure to resist it. Thinking of the two demonic illusion families in Konoha joining forces in private, the result is chilling. For a time, everyone's eyes fell on Chin-yu's body. Recalling the ruthlessness of killing someone just now, and the powerful and unparalleled means, it was like a big stone pressing on his chest. If there's nothing wrong, I'll go back to rest first. As for the broken position of Hokage, I'm not interested. However, I don't like trouble, but it doesn't mean I'm afraid of trouble. Chin-yu dropped these words and looked around. After a lap in the field, he turned and left. Looking at this handsome back, the field was dead silent. A moment ago, he was still on the verge of killing, but now he waved his hand without taking away a cloud. This horse does not play cards according to the routine. Stop! The Yamanaka wind suddenly flashed and landed in front of the third generation of Hokage with a look of grief and anger. Lord Hokage, you have to do justice to Lord Danzo. He is all for Konoha, so he is willing to act as a bad guy and defend Konoha's interests. Only this time, Uchiha Chin-yu suddenly attacked and killed the hero of Konoha Ninja Village. If he was allowed to leave without incident, how would our Konoha Ninja Village be fair? Chang's voice was full of righteousness between the lines, which made the Konoha ninjas in the field moved. Especially the private collusion between the Uchiha clan and the Kurama clan just now. And this forced Hokage campaign, coupled with the ongoing grudge against the Uchiha clan. The atmosphere of the scene turned into a one-sided situation. Some of the dark chess who were hidden in the crowd and belonged to Danzo were the first to lose their temper. Lord Hokage, Yamanaka is right. Lord Danzo has been doing his best for our Konoha ninja village. He's dead now, and he made the prisoner swagger away. I'm afraid he won't be able to convince the public. Lord Hokage, Lord Danzo is one of Konoha's 3 advisors. Even if there is no credit, there is still hard work. Uchiha Chin-yu caused Lord Danzo to die because of his inconsistency. This is a serious sin. Lord Hokage. The scene suddenly boiled, and the rants spread wildly. In the eyes of most people, this time is not only to condemn Chin-yu's guilt, but also to fear the unknown strength. In the face of Chin-yu's ignorant strength, staying in Konoha Ninja Village is like a time bomb. Chapter 170 _ a few coffin boards can't hold it down. Sarutobi, Yamanaka wind, they are right, this time the situation is a bit serious. Homura Mitokado and Kaharu also came quickly. Looking at Danzo, whose chest was covered in blood and staring at him, he couldn't die any longer. Also as Konoha's 3 major advisors, when facing Uchiha Chin-yu, the feeling of powerlessness is inevitably a kind of sadness. Seeing that the 2 stubborn old men also expressed their stance, Jiraiya looked anxious, but stopped talking, and was stopped by Chin-yu. Hehe, Yamanaka, if you let Danzo know that you are doing this for him, I'm afraid even the coffin board can't hold back. Chin-yu laughed dryly, looked at Danzo lying on the ground, and said, I didn't want to stab you, let you spend time with me well, but your darlings don't want to. Danzo, is Izanagi easy to use? The inexplicable words fell, but Chin-yu's right hand was thrown out in an instant like lightning. A kunai, entwined with lightning, shot straight towards the corpse on the ground. Bang! White smoke rose into the sky, and the violent scene shook everyone's nerves. Danzo, who was lying still on the ground and couldn't die any longer, it collapsed like smoke and turned into a piece of wood. This horse riding is a substitute technique. This scene made the person who just spoke in solidarity stunned. There is a feeling of IQ being pressed and rubbed on the ground. There was still a burning sensation on his cheeks, and the slap in the face was too fast. No, no possibility. I was clearly aware just now that Danzo-sama was killed. How could this be wrong? Yamanaka's face was full of disbelief. The Yamanaka clan is the strongest perceptual ninja clan in the Konoha ninja village. In every battle, they acted as liaisons to cover the entire battlefield. This is enough to see that the Yamanaka clan's perception ability is strong, so it also shows the credibility of Yamanaka's words. Chaotic thoughts flashed in his mind, and Yamanaka-K's, eager to prove that he was not wrong, clasped his hands together suddenly, and used his perception ninjutsu to ultimate. The next moment, the crowd looked directly in one direction. At this glance, Chinyu shook his head with a smile and said, "Danzo, your subordinate, your brain was really kicked by a donkey. Not only did you help you stand out, but you also pointed out where you were in public. This time, you won't be able to hold down a few more coffin boards." Yamanaka is stunned. Seeing that figure who was trembling with rage and could kill him tens of thousands of times just by looking at him, his mind completely fell to the bottom. Concern is messed up. As Chinyu said, if Danzo is really not dead, there must be a secret hidden in him. Now he's acting like flipping Danzo's coffin board over, then pointing at the body and telling the others that he doesn't have little JJ. Completely expose the secret that Danzo was trying so hard to hide. It's Danzo's breath. Jiraiya's expression also changed, and in the moment just now, he also opened his perception barrier. Danzo, who is already dead now, appeared alive in front of everyone. And deliberately hide it. This is the rhythm of 300 tales without silver here. If Chinyu's remarks just now are correct, Izanagi is still the forbidden technique of the Uchiha family. That's how Danzo, who is not of the Uchiha tribe, is cast. This is intriguing. Lord Danzo, I didn't mean it. Yamanaka Fung rushed towards Danzo. As soon as you approached, the slap that split the face and fanned out, it was a feeling of killing you. Bang! The huge force directly sent the Yamanaka wind to the ground. Wearing the Anbu mask, trembled with anger, still couldn't calm down, and finally spit out a vulgar speech. The group of your sister. Chapter 171 picked up an armed Sharingan. Lord Danzo. Yamanaka Kazura lay on the ground on his side, covering half of his cheek, resentful like a little daughter-in-law. Shut up, Danzo roared, and now he wanted to kill Yamanaka with one hand. I originally planned to find an excuse to push the matter over afterwards. Unexpectedly, the Yamanaka wind came to the door and directly overturned his overall plan. Right now, under the watchful eyes of all the people, I'm afraid it will be difficult to get through. Thinking of this, Danzo almost broke the kunai in his hand. Especially in the face of the unfathomable and unfathomable, Uchiha Chinyu, who seems to be planning everything, has a feeling that he has nowhere to hide. This kid will never stay. Danzo, take off the mask. 3 generations of Hokage shouted gloomily. In the beginning, the 3 generations of Hokage were still figuring out what to do with Danzo being killed, but now they wish that Danzo was dead. Of Hokage have also heard of Izanagi's pupil technique. Demonic illusion is a powerful way to achieve ultimate, which can switch between reality and fantasy. Even if he was fatally wounded, he could use Izanagi to nullify the attack. If it weren't for the high price paid and a Sharingan needed to be sacrificed, I'm afraid it can definitely be called an invincible technique. Right now, Danzo was resurrected from the dead, and Chinyu broke it out in public. If all this is true, it would be difficult to ride a tiger. As for the origin of Sharingan, it will become the trigger point of the conflict between Konoha and Uchiha. Homura Mitokado's face also turned ashen. When he thought of the righteousness and awe-inspiring blaming Chinyu just now, Danzo was not dead, but he slapped him in the face. Looking at the hesitant Danzo, he hurried forward to grab Danzo's mask. "Danzo, take off the mask and prove your innocence." Homura Mitokado, who was still trying to struggle in the end, he would shoot violently, even Danzo didn't expect it. When he reacted, the mask had been taken off. Looking at the bandaged right eye, it suddenly became a Sharingan that lost its agility, and the expressions of the people present changed drastically. "It's really Sharingan." Uchiha Fugaku's face sank, and he said, "Danzo, should you give us an explanation, how did you get this Sharingan?" For any family, it is necessary to maintain its own uniqueness and avoid exposing any weaknesses. The first is to preserve the leakage of the family blood. Among them, in Konoha Shinobi Village, Hyuga, known as the largest family, is divided into main clan and branch. On the battlefield has always been divided into the battlefield by the seal of the caged bird. It is also given to protect the Hyuga main clan with a mortal determination in the face of any danger. Although, in the Uchiha clan, there is no distinction between the main clan and the division, but when any one of them is killed in battle, he will acquiesce in self-destruction of his eyes. Moreover, unlike the Hyuga family who opens Byakugan all the year round, the Uchiha family only opens it during battles. Therefore, in order to win the Sharingan, it must be allowed by the original owner, or in a lightning-quick manner in the battle, before the Uchiha clansmen close the Sharingan, or destroy it. Otherwise, if they miss the open state, even if they get Sharingan, they cannot open it without the blood of the Uchiha family. Hehe, uncle, don't blame Mr. Danzo wrongly. He cares about Konoha Ninja Village. He accidentally picked up this Sharingan on the battlefield, right? Chinyu took the lead and looked at Danzo with a smile. Listening to this kind of relief, Yamanaka Fung quickly nodded and said, "Uchiha Chinyu is right. I got this Sharingan by accident and gave it to Lord Danzo." "Idiot, it's still unclear what happened." Danzo couldn't help but kicked Yamanaka's back. Yamanaka Fung instantly fell to the ground, staring blankly at Chinyu in front of him. When had he thought that, as Danzo's confidant, he would one day be slapped and kicked in the back? This gap completely subverted his cognition. Hehe, Mr. Danzo, you see Yamanaka has a lot of wind for you, and helped you pick up an open Sharingan. Chinyu smiled playfully. He really wanted to know, what other means did Danzo have to deal with him? After a pause, he continued, "However, he seems to be a bit unlucky. He even picked up an arm of Sharingan for you, right?" Small voices reverberated between heaven and earth. Everyone's expressions could not help but stagnate. A Sharingan, perhaps by virtue of Danzo's identity, can fool the past. However, I was lucky enough to be able to pick up an arm of Sharingan, which was still just open. In this case, I am afraid that I believe in ghosts, and I will not believe in this mouthful of nonsense. Uchiha Chinyu, what are you talking about? Slandering Konoha advisors indiscriminately is not only a serious crime, but also provoking civil unrest in Konoha Ninja Village and the Uchiha clan. This is a serious crime. Homura Mitokado was anxious. For a long time, their three advisors have not been regarded as advancing and retreating together. However, many decisions, they are based on Danzo's lead. If Danzo really did so many things in private without the knowledge of them, then they might also be helping the tyrants. Therefore, the only thing he can do now is to suppress Chinyu, hoping that all this is fake. Hehe, you great advisor, since you want to know the truth, you can tell Danzo to remove the bandage on his arm. Don't let Kabuto turn around and make me a clown again. Chinyu smiled warmly and looked at him Danzo. He also thinks now, in such a public view. What else is Danzo hiding? For a time, the huge venue changed from the Hokage campaign to the current aggressive situation, and everyone's eyes were locked on Danzo. At the same time, subtle changes are taking place in everyone's heart. In the beginning, most people shunned Uchiha Chinyu, who was known as Konoha's blood-colored Asura, in awe. In Konoha Ninja Village, 3 or 4 random shots attacked Konoha advisors. But right now, if Danzo is really what Chinyu said, Sharingan can pick up an arm. Are the roles of good and bad guys reversed? Looking at Chinyu's eyes, it seems to have become a little more pleasing to the eye. Danzo's face was so gloomy that ultimate, facing so many inquisitive gazes, he could not wait to kick Yamanaka Wine to death, and even more wanted to strangle Chinyu to death. He had just transplanted this arm. He thought it could become a killer, but he didn't expect it to become a ticking time bomb. In particular, he was completely unable to figure out why Chinyu learned about the secret of his arm. Could it be Orochimaru? Lord Danzo, you retreat first, I'll buy you time. An unexpected voice suddenly sounded in Danzo's mind. Chapter 172 Orochimaru, are you funny? Mind call. Danzo couldn't help but startled, and before he could react, there was a loud drink in his mind. Sir Danzo, hurry up and escape. Yamanaka Fung roared, without any fancy, his hands clasped together suddenly. The tyrannical mental impact, like thunder, quickly rolled back, causing everyone within a radius of several hundred meters to have a thunder-like roar in their minds. My mind went blank in an instant. Danzo's expression froze, and he almost scolded his mother. If you are not afraid of godlike opponents, you are afraid of pig-like teammates. It could have been sloppy, but now it was obviously caught up with the Yamanaka wind. Now you have to run away. Konoha Ninja Village. Under these circumstances, at least one hostage is needed. The messy thoughts flashed in Danzo's mind, and he didn't have time to think about it and hurriedly jumped away to the 3rd generation of Hokage. The short dozen or so meters are just a few breaths. According to the deduction in Danzo's mind, as long as he catches the 3rd generation of Hokage, he can retreat completely. However, as soon as Danzo approached, he saw Chinyu, who should have been caught in the Yamanaka wind, desperately cast a secret technique, and fell into a brief daze, and smiled at him playfully. If he knew the existence of Mona Lisa, he would definitely think that Chinyu's smile made people feel more mysterious and terrifying. At this moment, he suddenly woke up. Yamanaka Wind, the pig teammate, ignored an important thing. Chinyu was able to ignore even the demonic illusion eye and colorful magic dragon that Uchiha was desperately casting, not to mention the mere mental shock. However, don't blame them for this. Chinyu's mind is hosted by the system, which cannot be measured by common sense. It would be strange to be able to shake him. Minato has been hiding and watching the play for so long. If you don't take action, don't blame me for being ruthless. Chinyu smiled warmly and looked at the stand not far away. Soon as a helpless laughter sounded, Namikaze Minato appeared by Danzo's side without warning, his right hand protruded like lightning, and the kunai in his hand, with an accurate gesture, cut the clothes and bandages of Danzo's right hand. PFF'd. At the same time as the sound of cloth tearing, the 3 generations of Hokage and others also woke up after a brief absence. This seemingly cumbersome scene, before and after, is only a few seconds, looking at Danzo who is close at hand with a ferocious face. Anyone who thinks with their toes can also figure out what is going on. However, more people still quickly went to Danzo's arm. Looking at the arms that were covered with mysterious spell seals and covered with closed eyes, everyone's pupils suddenly shrank. These eyes are sealed so that people can't see the truth. But a person, whose entire arm is full of eyes, knows that everything Chinyu said is true as long as he is not a fool. Damn, the 3rd generation Hokage roared. Danzo, do you know what a fool you have done? Take the Danzo for me and hold it up for the time being. As soon as these words fell, the Anbu ninjas who were still sticking to their posts rushed out one after another. Danzo's face changed drastically, and he roared anxiously, Tianzang, Orochimaru, if you don't take action now, when are you going to wait? Orochimaru. The expressions of the people present changed drastically. If Danzo picked up an armed Sharingan, it's hard for them to accept. Now colluding with missing Nino Orochimaru, this is the identity of the bad guy. Hehe, it's an exciting scene, it's just a twist. Uchiha Chinyu is right, your pig teammates are really disappointing. A cold laughter came suddenly. Everyone's nerves suddenly tightened, and the whole ground made a rumbling. The art of psychic, hidden shadow snake abyss. The huge psychic seal quickly covered most of the stands. Orochimaru, at its peak, was obviously powerful when it shot. At the moment when the ground rumbled, countless poisonous snakes burst out of the ground and wrapped around everyone. What's more, if you open your bloody mouth and bite directly at the target, if you really bite a solid one this time, you may be directly poisoned to death. After all, Orochimaru is a master of the human body, changing cells, messing with human research, and enhancing the power of toxins. It is still very simple. Minato, keep Danzo, Jiraiya hurriedly shouted, I'll deal with Orochimaru. For Orochimaru's defection, Jiraiya broods. After chasing for so long, there is no real trace of Orochimaru. Now that Orochimaru delivered it himself, he definitely didn't want to miss this opportunity. Namikaze Minato's face changed, it was all too sudden. Whether it's Danzo's Sharingan, or collusion with Orochimaru, it all subverts their cognition. Most importantly, in the face of all this, Chinyu seemed like a prophet. This is the most terrifying thing. The messy thoughts flashed in Minato's mind. Without any pause, he went straight to the retreating Danzo and caught him. Boom! A low roar suddenly came from the ground. Namikaze Minato was stunned at first, and soon saw the ground beneath his feet, which was directly penetrated, and the wooden strips like a horned dragon quickly wrapped around his ankles. The violent scene made Namikaze Minato have no time to pursue, so he hurriedly used the Hiraishin technique and disappeared out of thin air. Bang! The attack failed directly, and the horned dragon-like wooden sticks strangled together, making a loud bang. Seeing this violent scene, everyone's expressions changed drastically. This is the Mokuden wood-style ninjutsu of the original Hokage. Homura Mitokado couldn't help but say. Third generation of Hokage's face was so gloomy that it was ultimate. After jumping over a large number of poisonous snakes, he found a foothold and looked around and said, Orochimaru, I didn't expect that your human experiment was really a fluke. However, just like Jiraiya, his perceptual ninjutsu, in this panicked situation, couldn't catch Orochimaru's breath at all. Hehe, teacher, we have also been missing for a few years. If you support me in human research earlier, then this Mokuden wood-style ninjutsu will be a powerful force under your command. Orochimaru laughed playfully throughout the venue. It sounded last time. In this chaotic situation, there is no way to set a position. Don't try to find me with your breath. I'm afraid I won't recognize you even if you meet face to face. Of course, you can beg me, if I'm in a good mood, or I'll come out to meet you guys and solve the lovesickness. The slightly elusive voice added a hint of unbridled playfulness. I said, Orochimaru, are you funny? So many people are scared away, you are still standing in the pile of snakes bragging, this is also a pig teammate. Chinyu's voice broke the dead end, looking at Chinyu who was still standing in the pile of snakes, protecting himself with Susanoo, with a warm smile. Orochimaru, who was hiding on the viewing platform, suddenly tightened his nerves and hurriedly looked behind him. Chapter 173 _ Bring a cat and a dog to the disco. Is this Raiden Thunder-style clone? Orochimaru was stunned. He has been watching the battle, and most of his attention has been paid to Chinyu. But he didn't find Chinyu at all when he performed this ninjutsu. Looking at the right hand that suddenly appeared behind him, the thunder light wrapped around his right hand, and his pupils quickly enlarged with a stance as fast as a thunderbolt. A chill was about to come out from under the feet. Raikiri. There was a flash of lightning, and the huge head was thrown directly into the air. Under the splash of blood, a more terrifying scene appeared in front of him. The decapitated Orochimaru, with a sway of the only remaining body torso, immediately retreated. Several flickers landed more than 10 meters away, and stopped abruptly. Under the rapid squirming of the granulation on the broken neck, a blood-stained head jumped out with an extremely disgusting gesture. Looking at this scene, many people had their eye sockets split open, and they retched at the same time. If it is said that in the Hokage world, the most disgusting ninja is probably Orochimaru. I'm glad it was beheading this time, otherwise I'd still perform the unique trick of spitting out the head from the mouth. Orochimaru, you are still as disgusting as ever. I killed you once last time, but this time I couldn't kill you again. It seems that your means of escaping are as powerful as your tongue-in-cheek skills. Chinyu smiled genially. Raiden Thunder-style shadow clone also collapsed in front of everyone. Looking at this scene, Orochimaru's old face was hot, staring at Chinyu who was in the snake prison, and he didn't care about it at all, and almost crushed his fingers. No. It should be said that Orochimaru has no bones in his body, and he can't even crush it. Most importantly, this lets the entire Konoha know that he was killed twice by the same junior. I can't take this breath. I know, when you were instructing my Raiden Thunder-style clone, you buried the backhand, you planned it early in the morning. Senju Huxi suddenly exclaimed. Tsunade and Jiraiya looked at each other in horror, too. At the time, they also had their eye on the Hokage campaign. But I didn't expect Chinyu to be more thorough, and secretly sent Raiden Thunder-style clone out. This mean that from the beginning, Chinyu expected that Orochimaru and Danzo would attack. Thinking of this, it can be described as terrifying. The huge venue was dead silent, and the riot caused by the snake prison was suppressed. Seeing that Orochimaru was also stopped, Danzo's expression suddenly turned somber to ultimate. Danzo, let's go and capture it. The sealed gate of Konoha Ninja Village has been opened, but you and Orochimaru can't escape. 3 generations of Hokage took the lead and said in a deep voice. The ninjas present held their breaths on guard. The snake prison just now was a surprise. Once it recovers, it will be a little trouble for the ninjas who have experienced the test of life and death. It is a little tricky to get out of trouble in the huge Konoha Ninja Village. The idiot is dreaming. Sarutobi, you should know very well that everything I do is for the sake of Konoha Shinobi Village. A trace of madness flashed across Danzo's face, the back of his hand clenched tightly, and the blue veins were also highlighted. Don't force me, I just want to retreat now, otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless. The awe-inspiring voice fell, and everyone's expressions changed. If it is said that these words come from the mouths of other people, it may not be enough to fear. However, as the head of Konoha's 3 advisors, Danzo's ability cannot be measured by ordinary people. In the face of this situation right now, he dares to say such cruel words, which is enough for people to weigh 1 or 2. Hee, what if I have to force you? Chinyu looked at the corner not far away with a playful look. Bring those cats and dogs to dance. Hiding in the corner and not coming out. Chapter 174 A bunch of dead. Is there anyone else? Jiraiya and the others' faces changed dramatically. Now that Danzo colluded with Orochimaru and picked up an arm of Sharingan, it was already a big crime. If privately, he also colluded with other people. The whole thing means something completely different. Danzo, is what Chinyu said true? The 3rd generation of Hokage's face was somber to ultimate. You're not really secretly teaming up with those guys, are you? As soon as these words came out, everyone's expressions changed. Originally, Chinyu's words were nothing but guesswork. However, now after 3 generations of Hokage, the taste has undoubtedly changed. For a time, everyone's eyes were locked on Danzo's body. Danzo's expression was gloomy, and his pupils were full of resentment. Okay, what a Uchiha kid, if I knew you were so tricky, I would kill you in the baby. 3 or 4 times have ruined my major events and forced me to a dead end. You're asking yourself for no fun. Hee, you might as well just say, don't let me be born. Chinyu rolled his eyes and said, let me guess, besides Kurigakure village, there are Iwagakure and Kumogakure, right? 3 ninja villages. When the people present heard the words, their faces instantly turned pale. Collusion with Orochimaru, which is already a great sin, now comes Kumogakure, Kurigakure and Iwagakure. This is totally a thief. If it weren't for the end of the battle, the Hokage campaign was brought forward, calling a large number of fighters back to the village. I am afraid that the 3 major shinobi villages that have secretly colluded are enough to put Konoha Shinobi Village into an unprecedented crisis. Danzo and Orochimaru's faces turned ashen, and after looking at each other, there was a hint of disbelief deep in their pupils. In their eyes, the village of Kurigakure was the backhand they had secretly colluded with early in the morning. If Chinyu noticed any clues, this is not wrong. But now Chinyu opened his mouth, and even the existence of Iwagakure village and Kurigakure village was broken. This is too shocking. Of Danzo and Orochimaru. 3rd generation of Raikage really be related to Uchiha Chinyu? Hee, I didn't expect it to be so lively this time. A discordant voice came from outside the gate on the side of the venue. Soon he saw an old man dressed in the costume of an elder of the village of Kurigakure, walking with a cane. Behind him, more than 30 Kurigakure Anbu, as well as several familiar faces. Oh my god, that's the group of 7 ninja swordsmen, Juzo who decapitated the broadsword, Munashi Jinpachi with the blasting knife, and someone who cuts through the grass bait with the dull sword Kabuto. And a shark face with a big knife on his back. Is he also one of the 7 ninja swordsmen? This lineup is too luxurious, won't all 7 people come? Che, your information is really blocked. I heard that in the northwest stronghold, Uchiha Chinyu, but killed the 2 big ninja swords and 7 people in an instant. Now there are so many missing, and the existence of newcomers, I am afraid they are all leftovers to make up for. Went up. Kurigakure, who had strutted in, and a group of ninjas almost stumbled and fell to the ground. This time, after getting information from Danzo, he decided to come to Shingshi to ask for the guilt, so he gathered the strongest force in Kurigakure village. I never imagined that this luxurious lineup would become dead in the mouth of outsiders. This breath clearly made him unable to swallow. Huo Ran raised his head, his turbid old eyes flashed with anger, he stomped his cane in his hand, and shouted sharply, Sarutobi, we haven't seen you for a long time, hand over people, otherwise don't blame us for being rude. Chapter 175 Not only licking the dog, but also kneeling and licking. You are welcome. The awe-inspiring voice echoed in the field. If it were normal times, if Kurigakure village dared to say such words in Konoha Ninja Village, I am afraid that they would have been surrounded by a group of Anbu ninjas. However, looking at the 2 teams of people who followed Kurigakure village, the atmosphere in the field only became more depressed. That's the son of 3 generations of Raikage, the next Raikage I, and the Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force of the AB group Killer Bee. This is the land of Earth, Lois, son of Tsuchikage, the 3rd generation of Iwagakure village, and Bakuden explosion-style ninja Harl. Looking at the team of hundreds of people, they swaggered into the venue. All the Konoha ninjas looked ashen, which was a challenge to them. However, now that the matter has been implicated in the 3 major ninja villages, the whole body is affected, and they cannot be allowed to mess around. Danzo, you did a good job this time. 3 generations of Hokage's face sank and he sighed. If I had known, this would have happened today. When you sent someone to assassinate me, I should not have let it go. You. Many people were surprised by this kind of secret news. In their eyes, Danzo is a competent advisor besides being arbitrary. However, now that one piece of black history has been exposed, this completely subverts their cognition. Assassination of Hokage is a crime of treason. Danzo's face became gloomy and uncertain. He bit Kiba and stared at Chinyu. It took 7 or 8 seconds before he let out a heavy sigh, as if he had made a decision. Sarutobi, if you hadn't robbed me of my Hokage position that day, don't always use Wairo means. According to my plan, Konoha Ninja Village is enough to become the #1 in the ninja world. Since I have torn my face now, don't blame me for not thinking about the past. Having said this, Danzo's eyes turned in vain. Wudong, the one who killed the 3 generations of Mizukage and robbed the Kurigakure village tail beast is Uchiha Chinyu. However, this man's mind and means are very good. When you act, try to be careful. There was a sound of gasping for air in the arena. 3rd generation of Mizukage was killed and the matter of capturing the 3 tails was blocked by the 3rd generation of Hokage's direct order. Although it was astonishing, as soon as this matter was pierced, Chinyu's image of strength immediately soared to cage level. Fart! Soldiers face each other on the battlefield, either you die or I die. Jiraiya's face sank, and he said first, could it be that you are only allowed to kill 3 generations of Mizukage, and others are not allowed to fight back? If that's the case, our Konoha shinobi village would like to follow suit and let Hokage go for a walk outside your village and kill the people who leave the village one by one, and see if you can still speak so confidently. Okay, well said Jiraiya-sama. Only the state officials are allowed to set fires, and the people are not allowed to light the lights. Your 3 generations of Mizukage were killed, that's not as good as others. As soon as you come here, you are shouting for someone, do you want your face? Konoha ninjas in the field instantly echoed, and they all criticized. After all, the perennial battle has caused their parents and relatives to lose their lives on the battlefield. It would be too ridiculous to be able to hand over the murderer based on just these few words. Looking at the one-sided situation in an instant, the elders of Kurigakure village's withered bark-like cheeks turned ashen. Okay, very good, is this what you Konoha Ninja Village gave us? The old man looked at the 3 generations of Hokage coldly. This is forcing our village of Kurigakure to go to war again at all costs. The awe-inspiring voice could not help but rise. Facing the words of Jiraiya and Konoha shinobi villagers, Kurigakure village was obviously unable to stand firm in front of Rishi. The only thing that can be done is to tear off the face and smack it. 3 generations of Hokage's face sank, and he walked out slowly. I'm sorry, if any one of the villages died on the battlefield, and then jumped out to let our Konoha ninja village hand in people, then who would dare to throw their heads on the battlefield? Even in your village of Kurigakure, it doesn't make sense. If you have to do this, then see who has the bigger fist. Good. Looking at the toughness of the 3rd generation of Hokage, there was a burst of applause from the field. As the 3 generations of Hokage said, there is no way to bless the warriors, and there are still people who are willing to fight for the village. The elder of Kurigakure village looked at Danzo with a stunned expression. Right now, he's talking too hard, and it's hard to ride a tiger. If there is no breakthrough progress, I am afraid I can only leave with a tail tucked away. Danzo's expression sank, and he said, Sarutobi, I didn't expect that you, who has always been a moderate, would not hesitate to fight for a Uchiha Chinyu. Although, you keep your mouth shut, but facing Kurigakure village alone, you may be able to speak your mind. However, if you face the 3 major ninja villages together, I would like to know if you will still be so tough. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere of the huge venue changed drastically. 3 generations of Hokage also changed. Before he could speak, Lois and I, representing the village of Iwagakure, had already come out of the crowd. 3 generations of Hokage, Our Iwagakure village genius, Deidara is missing, suspected to be related to Konoha ninjas. Uchiha Chinyu, I hope you will hand them over to confront them. Lois, who seemed to have a stern face, was the first to speak. I, who was on the side, also gave Chinyu a deep look and said, I originally planned to meet again in the name of Ying, but I didn't expect that we would meet so soon on such an occasion. I really want to know if you have anything to do with the disappearance of the third generation of Reikage. I hope you can come with us for the sake of Konoha Ninja Village. If you are innocent, of course we will let you go, but if it is really related to you, then don't blame me for being rude. 3 generations of Reikage are also missing. There was an uproar in the field. With the disappearance of the genius in Iwagakure village, Reikage, who is known as the strongest in this generation, has disappeared. This is even more astonishing. If it really is what they said, all this is related to Uchiha Chinyu. This is too shocking. Teacher, Jiraiya looked anxious, looking at the third generation of Hokage, with a questioning expression on her face. Now that the 3 major ninja villages are attacking at the same time, the meaning is obviously different. In particular, there is Danzo, a shit-stirrer. To suppress this matter, I am afraid it will be very difficult. Haha, you didn't think of Sarutobi's situation. Now, what are you going to do for the sake of Konoha Shinobi Village? Danzo laughed outrageously. Now, I'll give you a chance to tie up Uchiha Chinyu. Maybe it will be able to calm down the 3 major ninja villages, otherwise the century-old foundation of Konoha Ninja Village will be defeated in your hands. In the future, under Huang Izumi, I will see how you explain to the previous generations. The balance of the situation was suddenly broken with the strong intervention of the 3 major ninja villages. When everyone's expressions turned ashen, the applause that floated in their ears made one's nerves tense. The Lord finally spoke up. I said, Danzo, you're not just licking the dog, you're kneeling. Chapter 176 _ Who can behead him? Lick the dog. Everyone present couldn't help but startled, even Danzo was no exception. He obviously couldn't understand this new age term. Don't you understand? Chinyu smiled warmly and said slowly, it's just that they slapped your mother, and you knelt aside and said yes. You keep saying that you want to be a Hokage, but you were bullied at the door. You are riding a horse and hugging your thighs and applauding, you have a face. Crude language, it is difficult to enter the Hall of Elegance. However, as soon as these words fell, there was an applause in the field. Okay, that's a good point, Danzo the dog, the horse is right. As a Konoha, I worship foreigners as fathers, bah. Lick dog Danzo, the description is really apt. This Uchiha kid is not only good at tactics, but also speaks every word. It seems that the Uchiha family also has good descendants. A moment ago, Danzo colluded with Orochimaru to assist the 3 major ninja villages to sneak into Konoha Ninja Village, and shouted in public. There was a sigh of resentment in everyone's heart. Now Chinyu's words have obviously allowed them to find a vent. However, compared to the others, Jiraiya still looked ashen. Literally, he has the upper hand, but in the current situation, the 3 ninja villages have obviously torn their skin. To solve the current endgame, I am afraid it is very difficult. Chinyu. Jiraiya stopped talking. However, he was quickly interrupted by Chinyu's casual smile. Come over here. The sudden action made Uchiha Itachi look stagnant, but he still trotted over. Brother, what are your plans? I will stand by your side to support you. Uchiha Itachi raised his small fist, looking a little cute. Now he has not shouldered the responsibility of the Uchiha family, so even his words are still a little childish. Silly boy. Chinyu reached out and rubbed Itachi's head. I have already made up my mind when I come back this time, and the 3 ninja villages are just a passing game. Murderers are always killed. If you want to tie your hands and feet, it's not in line with my way of forbearance. Having said that, Chinyu looked at Danzo with a smile and said, Danzo, you have the righteousness of this framework, but these alone cannot overwhelm me. Inexplicably speaking, not only Konoha's side, but also the three major ninja villages and Danzo, can't figure it out. Danzo's heart sank directly, and a stern look flashed in his pupils. Uchiha brat, I know you're good at it, but in this situation, I'll see if you have the ability to crack it. Today, it's hard for you to fly even with your wings attached. Those who kill Mizukage must pay the price. You can't escape death today. The elder of Kurigakure village also echoed coldly. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Everyone's eyes turned to Chinyu subconsciously, eager to know how he could solve the predicament in front of him. However, at the next moment, the warm smile on the corner of Chinyu's lips, and the words that fell in the air, tightened everyone's nerves. Who can cut off his head? Sir, I've been waiting for your words for a long time. A playful voice suddenly echoed. The ghost shark with a shark face suddenly burst into flames. The shark muscle that was handed over in Chinyu's hands was directly pulled out, and under the watchful eyes of the public, it was cut directly to the elders of Kurigakure village. PFF'd. The huge head was thrown straight out. Da Peng's blood splattered, and even Munashi Jinpachi on his side, and the savage threw grass bait, also splattered on his face. They could react. The beheading sword in Biwa Juzo's hand had already hanged his head first. In the bloody water, two human heads rolled to the ground, and the hot blood splashed out, giving people a shocking feeling. The huge venue fell into a dead silence, and it was almost a needle drop. Kurigakure 7, who originally belonged to one of the trump cards of the Kurigakure village, turned their backs without warning. An instant, the elder of the village of Kurigakure and 2 other 7 people were beheaded. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who wants to believe it? What's more, the person who caused all this is the blood-colored Asura of Konoha Shinobi village. My lord, we recovered this thing. Biwa Juzo picked up the blasting knife droplets and the blunt knife Kabuto cut. Coupled with the beheading swords and shark muscles in their hands, all 7 ninja swords fell into their hands. Since then, the 7 ninja swordsmen have been directly removed from the village of Kurigakure. Okay, then, leave the village with me. Chinyu patted the dust on his body and walked out slowly under the shocked gaze of everyone. Brother, are you leaving? Can I follow you? Itachi grabbed Chinyu's clothes. Chinyu patted his hand, shook his head and said, Itachi, this road is not easy to walk. In this life, you should take another road. In the original book, Itachi was burdened with the mission of Konoha and the crime of genocide, and had a hard time on the road of missing Nin. This time, since Itachi could call him eldest brother, Chinyu didn't mind changing his destiny. After all, for Chinyu who owns the system, everything is a breeze. Moreover, Mingming told Chinyu that this aimless road, how to go will have the final result. Chinyu, stop. Uchiha Fugaku's expression changed and he was the first to react. Like a ghost, he appeared in front of Chinyu and said, do you know what nonsense you are talking about? What? Chinyu smiled playfully, patted Fugaku on the shoulder, and passed by. From the beginning, I planned to be a missing nin. Let's go. Abandoning these words, Chinyu threw himself and disappeared in place. Followed by Biwa Juzo and Ghost Shark, they were also ready to use the Suiten, water-style, shunjutsu to ultimate. Seeing that the 3 of them left the venue in an instant, the lost people suddenly woke up. Go and chase, the gate of Konoha Ninja Village has been blocked, and they can't escape. Danzo's face froze, and he roared in a hurry. He calculated and deduced everything behind his back, asking himself if he had never been passive. However, from the moment he set foot in this venue to the present, it gave him the feeling that he was being led by the nose. At present, even the 3 major forbearance villages joined forces to force the palace, but Chinyu easily disintegrated, and the village fled with a word of betrayal. This is too difficult for them to accept. Killer Bee and the others moved instantly. Lois also rushed out with a large force. It's just that in the village of Kurigakure, there was a brief riot under the group of dragons without a leader, and they quickly reacted and chased out. Seeing that the scene was instantly chaotic, Jiraiya hurriedly said, "Teacher, what should we do? That kid doesn't seem to be joking. Go after it first, and then decide what to do." The third generation of Hokage's face sank, and he hurriedly issued an order. "Let Anbu's people go to arrest Danzo and Orochimaru immediately. Minato and Tsunade, go after Chinyu. If necessary, try to delay the pace of the three major ninja villages. I will try to open the gate and seal it as soon as possible." Chapter 177 The Unruly Ghost Shark. "Sir, in front of you is the sealed gate of Konoha." Dewa Juzo and the ghost shark looked up at the gate in front of them, their faces solemn. Sweden, water style, water dragon bullet. Dewa Juzo took the lead. The hands flew over, and a series of spells fell instantly. The free water around, quickly gathered, and turned into a huge water dragon of more than 10 meters under the body. Roar. As soon as the water dragon came out, the moment he roared in the sky, he went straight to the sealing gate. Boom. As soon as they approached, a layer of fire Yuhi's enchantment instantly unfolded. With the deafening sound of collision, the water dragon shattered. That layer of fire Yuhi's enchantment was only slightly dented, and soon recovered. This barrier is very defensive. As long as it can't be broken through in an instant, the barrier will mobilize power in all directions to quickly repair itself. Dewa Juzo's face changed slightly. Although I have long heard that the barrier setting of Konoha Ninja Village was made by the Uzumaki clan of the Grand Master's seal and barrier technique. But now, after trying it myself, I found out why the Uzumaki family was targeted. In the face of this kind of blow that cannot be broken, the Great Seal formation that can be repaired by continuously mobilizing power is enough to kill 99% of the ninjas. Unless a large army is assembled, the power of the attack is compensated by the number of people. With the help of the induction seal set at the beginning, they still have to catch up in a minute, and there are too many people to set the exact number. The ghost shark looked back at Chinyu and cracked Kiba's teeth like a serrated shark. Said with a smile, "I think your lord already has the confidence to break through the barrier, right? Ghost shark, what's your attitude? Can you measure the power of an adult?" Dewa Juzo scolded coldly. In the village of Kurigakure, he already knew that the sharks are rebellious people. It would be too rude to question in front of Chinyu now. If he gets involved in the wrong way, the head will not be guaranteed. "Senior Juzo, I'm just telling the truth." The ghost shark still smiled, but looking at the thing that suddenly flew out, it quickly stiffened. "You bastard, can you question the boss too? I'm calling you to death." Sanwei jumped out of Chinyu's backpack. Beneath the fist-sized body, a giant tail quickly enlarged, and the gust of wind swung it towards the ghost shark. At such a close distance, the ghost shark was obviously unable to hide. In a hurry, he could only lift the shark muscle in his hand to stop him. Boom! The huge impact force immediately made the ghost shark fly upside down. Like thunder, it slammed on the barrier of the enchantment, making a rolling crash sound. Roar! With a successful hit, the three tails roared up to the sky, and once again shook their body and burst into a powerful chakra fluctuation. The current ghost shark is not a human-shaped tailed beast that completely fits with the shark muscle after 12 or 3 years. The strength is very outstanding, but it is still easy to be abused in front of the tailed beast. Seeing the tail that was flying like a sharp blade again, the ghost shark wanted to quickly hand seal with both hands in a hurry. "Okay, little Sanner, don't be fooling around." Chinyu patted Sanwei's head, making Sanwei, who was originally fierce and vicious, instantly become more pleasant, and like Erha, he quickly put away his tail. "Boss, why don't you let me kill him?" I said. "If you eat a meal, I will kill 10 people for you. It's like a bloody knife." Sanwei suddenly released the shape of the tail and jumped directly. It landed on Qinyu's shoulders, with a look of flattery on his face. This scene made the ghost shark bewildered. In his eyes, the tailed beast runaway can only be suppressed by mobilizing most of the elite of the whole village. In the face of Sanwei's violent attack just now, he even wanted to die. At the moment, Qinyu suppressed the 3 tails who didn't even add the seal in one sentence, which was too shocking to the world. "Okay, he's a newcomer, you old man, please forgive him once." Qinyu patted Sanwei on the head, interrupting its chatter. Looking at the ceiling barrier in front of him, he took a deep breath. "Just try this trick." Chapter 178 confirmed that the eyes will become stronger. "One person," the ghost shark said with a stagnant expression. "Sir, why don't we join forces? You are good at Raiden Thunder style and you can connect with Suiten Water style to greatly increase the power of the attack." After the ghost shark stabilized the turbulent qi and blood in his body, he hurriedly proposed. Regarding this suggestion, Biwa Juzo did not know whether the ghost shark was out of good intentions or deliberately said it. "But this is also a good way." "No need, I'm enough alone." Qinyu smiled warmly, and after relaxing his body a little, he breathed instantly. Raiden Thunder style Chakra mode. Boom. The violent thunder arc echoed with crackles, raging around, and even the expressions of the ghost shark and Biwa Juzo also changed, and they subconsciously took a few steps back. What a strong chakra manipulation ability. This seems to be the ninjutsu performed by I in the AB group in Kumogakure village. The ghost shark's face changed suddenly. As an Anbu, he is still very clear about the intelligence of being a genin. At least, to display the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode, precise chakra manipulation is required. However, although Raiden Thunder style is known as the one with the strongest destructive power among the 5 attributes, just relying on one's own strength to break the barrier in front of him, I am afraid it will be very difficult. It is enough for one person in Qinyu's mouth, which really makes them feel hesitant. Feel the chakra. Gather the strength of the whole body on the right hand. Qinyu squinted. The violent Raiden Thunder style chakra, like rolling thunder, frantically poured into the right hand. Hell Assault 4 books consistent. The 4 fingers merged, and the violent thunder light raged, and the thunder light of about a foot was swallowed, as sharp as a long spear, tearing the air hard. It exudes a terrifying smell. The crackling sound made the scalp feel numb. This is the 3rd generation Reikage, Hell Thrust, 4 books. The ghost shark's face changed dramatically. At the meeting, everyone just speculated on whether the 3rd generation of Reikage was killed by Qinyu, and did not dare to make a conclusion at will. After all, the strength of the 3rd generation Reikage is in front of us, and it is known as the strongest shadow of the contemporary era, which was killed by a mere 17 or 18-year-old boy. Who wants to believe it? But seeing this stab from hell, the 4 copies of the hand appeared in Qinyu's hands, and the scene in front of him made people unable to refute. "Sir, I didn't expect Reikage to fall into your hands." Biwa Juzo's expression changed, and he said anxiously, "If you rely on this trick, and I use Suiten Water style to assist." "No need," Qinyu interrupted first. In his conscious perception, those people were already approaching. Infernal stabs, 4-handed, with the reduction of fingers, the power gradually increases. When there is 1 finger left, the consistent hand that is displayed will be known as the strongest spear. But this skill requires constant attack and accumulation with Raiden Thunder style chakra to achieve it. For the 3 generations of Reikage, there may be no way to break through this process. However, for Qinyu, it was just a simple matter of confirming his eyes. Amplifying eyes. Qinyu's eyes widened, and Jutomo Sharingan turned in vain. Guerrilla Yuhi quickly spread in his pupils. Under the profusion of pupil power like the vast sea, the Raiden Thunder style chakra accumulated in the right hand skyrocketed in an instant. Boom! Like a thunderbolt from the blue, a dry thunder burst. The ghost shark and Biwajuzo changed dramatically, and they subconsciously retreated. Before they could figure out the scene in front of them, the four fingers of Chin Yu's right hand changed in an instant. Hell stab one stop. Boom. A finger change, it simply gives the feeling of affecting the whole body. The rolling thunder light skyrocketed, exuding a tidal-like posture. As soon as the thunderous light filled up, Chin Yu didn't have any fancy, and he stepped on it like a long spear mixed with endless thunder power. Towards the Yuhi-colored barrier in front of him. Chapter 179. Not anyone called Chin Yu. Boom. The sound of thunder, like a thunderbolt from the blue, stagnates the air circulating in the entire space. The violent and raging thunder rose into the sky, and together with the enchantment laid in the sky, it also sank and shook violently. Danzo and the others, who were thousands of meters away, quickly rushed over, their faces changed dramatically. They are now also in the sealed barrier of Konoha Ninja Village, which can be regarded as catching turtles in urns. If he wants to retreat completely, only if Uchiha Chin Yu catches him, he can use it as a bargaining chip. Danzo, what happened? I shouted angrily, his face sank. The chakra fluctuations just now were too huge, and the explosive force displayed was so strong that it could be clearly felt even thousands of meters away. This made Ai's mind unable to help but have an absurd thought. Danzo's face turned ashen. As the three advisors of Konoha and the actual ruler of Anbugen, he still had a connection with the sealing gate. At that moment, the fluctuating connection of the sealed gate was cut off, which meant that there was only one result. The sealed door is broken. Only in this way will the sealed gate urgently dispatch chakras from other places to make up for the gap, so that the chakras who provide contact are directly cut off. Danzo, you talk. Lois also looked gloomy. Right now, they are breaking into the Konoha Ninja Village, which is already a big crime. Not only can I not find Deidara who is related to the disappearance of the third generation of Raikage, but if the war starts again, it will not be worth the loss. The seal has been pierced. Danzo said with a livid face, knowing that he couldn't hide it. As soon as these words fell, the expressions of the hundreds of ninjas present changed drastically. Danzo, you didn't say let us slow down and let Uchiha Chin Yu attack the sealing gate first to weaken his chakra. Ai's expression sank, and he shouted sharply, now that he has escaped, what should we use to endure Konoha? The village Shingshi asked the guilt. Leaving these words, Ai's body lit up and immediately entered the Chakra Raiden Thunder-style mode. Under the watchful eyes of the public, a thunderstorm quickly chased away. Yo, check, Danzo, you, ready to take our Kumogakur's wrath. Killer Bee glanced at Danzo. While he rushed out quickly. The speed is only 1 point lower than that of Aizen. Danzo, you have to take responsibility for this. Lois dropped the words and quickly followed. The people in Kurigakure village did not speak, but their eyes had betrayed their thoughts. As the three major ninja villages joined forces, their lineup is considered the most luxurious. However, before they could make a move, because of the civil strife, the leading elder, and the two powerful ninja swordsmen, were directly strangled. This gives them a cheap feel to the village of Kurigakure, no doubt. Hee, Danzo looks like you're in a lot of trouble. Orochimaru smiled femininely. Danzo quickly gave him a cold look back and said, Orochimaru, don't forget, I'm in a similar situation as you. Stop talking nonsense, come and have a look. Hundreds of galloping figures passed by quickly. When he landed in front of the sealed gate, he looked at the half-gate that broke down directly at the waist, as well as the enchantment that gradually healed, and the ground that collapsed like a cobweb. It made their faces extremely pale. Damn! I shouted angrily. Under the skyrocketing thunder light on his body, the whole person was like a thunder axe, ramming head-on towards the final healing barrier. Boom! The sound like a thunderous explosion rolled and dispersed, and a large amount of thunder light splashed out, ravaging the earth with a radius of 100 meters. The crackling sound is endless. However, with what seemed like a mighty blow, the barrier was directly sunk. But it only lasted for a moment, and the chakra swarming around quickly offset the impact of the enchantment. At the same time, the huge recoil force made the thunder light on Ai's body tremble suddenly, and it collapsed directly. The whole person flew upside down and landed on the ground 7 or 8 meters. Don't mess around. This seal gate is set up by the Uzumaki clan. Once a strong impact is applied, it will completely rebound the attack. A ghostly figure appeared first in front of the sealed gate. Hiraishin kunai in his hands. Konoha yellow flash Namikaze Minato. Ai's face darkened. Your time-space ninjutsu is so good, why did you arrive now? Is it intentionally letting go of Uchiha Chinyu and covering up this missing nin? The Mimura ninja present obviously agreed. Konoha Yellow Flash, the speed it has, is famous in the whole ninja world. Now is not the release of water, who wants to believe it? Hee, you look too high on Minato. Jiraiya also fell on Namikaze Minato's side. When he learned that Chinyu had broken the sealed gate, he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Current situation is not clear. Orochimaru and Danzo colluded in private, and the troubles Konoha is facing now are infinitely magnified. There is also the Uchiha clan martial arts faction that was just about to move. In case the 3 major ninja villages join forces to riot, it will be a fatal blow for Konoha Ninja Village. If the big straw like Chinyu is added, I am afraid it will directly crush the thin camel of Konoha. Jiraiya, one of the Sannin. Ai's expression sank, and he said sharply, you wouldn't want to stop us with just 2 people, would you? I can break this sealing barrier by myself. Hell assassination 4 books consistent. I roared, and the Raiden thunder style chakra on his body poured frantically into his 4 fingers. Like a long spear, the thunder spear spit out a terrifying aura, causing the expressions of the people around to change suddenly. Stop them for me. Aibo shouted again and again. As soon as the voice fell, he strode hard, and the whole person turned into a thunderbolt lacing away again. Namikaze Minato, who was on the side, was about to stop, but not only Killer Bee, but Jiraiya also reached out to stop him. Let him try it once. Not everyone is Chinyu. The small voice seemed to be filled with magical sounds at this moment. Without waiting for everyone to react, I, who was holding a thunderous gesture, slammed into the seal gate head-on. The hell thrust entwined by the rolling thunder, the 4 hands, turned into a streamer, and stabbed directly at the sealing gate. Boom! The crackling sound of thunder resounded, and the violent thunder light rolled back. The sealing enchantment quickly dented, and the magnitude was even more points than before. However, seeing the enchantment as if it was about to be penetrated, the chakra that was quickly absorbed from the surrounding area directly injected tyrannical toughness into the sunken enchantment. Boom! Accompanied by a low thunderous sound, the rewinding thunder light, like a frenzy, rolled directly over Ai's body. There was a crackling sound like rain hitting a banana. Chapter 180 Open the monster's cage. Boom! The sound of thunder exploded, and a figure flew out directly. Killer Bee's face changed drastically, and he rushed out immediately. At the same time, 3 octopus tentacles stretched out from behind and wrapped around Ai directly. Boom! The huge impact made Killer Bee fly directly. Before he could think about it, 2 octopus tentacles stretched out from his body again, entangling a tree trunk not far away, and suddenly borrowed strength. He was dragged out abruptly by more than 10 meters before he stopped his body. "Let go of me." Ai's face was ashen as he walked out of his tentacles, and his right hand, which used the hell stab, the four hands, was still trembling slightly. The power of the sealing enchantment just now, the counterattack, is similar to the power of his four masters. This shows that he not only failed to break the enchantment, but is also asking for trouble. However, what made Ai unable to hang his face the most was Jiraiya's remarks just now. "Not anyone is Chinyu." Seeing that even I, who has the appearance of 3 generations of rakeage, can't penetrate this barrier, the faces of the people present are also slightly blue. At present, unless everyone makes a move together, it is probably an extravagant hope to break the barrier in front of him. However, once forced, it means a complete war with Konoha Shinobi Village. Within the barrier of Konoha Shinobi Village, they may be able to severely damage Konoha Shinobi Village, but what awaits them will be the destruction of the entire army. Okay, everyone should calm down. The 3rd generation of Hokage seemed a little late. It was just the armor on his body that made the atmosphere in the field extremely depressing. Known as the Konoha Ninja Professor, Grandmaster 5 Elements Ninjutsu, this is enough to prove his strength, and the degree of difficulty, definitely not to be underestimated. Now appearing in a battle suit, the meaning is different. 3 generations of Hokage, are you planning to leave us all behind? Lois said first. This time we have informed Tsuchikage of our actions. If we can't return, you should think about it earlier and explain to Iwagakure village. Quote. HMPH, our Kumogakure village is no exception. I also agreed in a deep voice. There was no one to talk to in Kurigakure village, but it was obviously the best way for the 3 to form a united front. However, Lois quickly glanced at Danzo and Orochimaru and said, however, the 3 generations of Hokage, this matter was dominated by Danzo and Orochimaru, and now Uchiha Chinyu has disappeared. He told us that everything has to do with Uchiha Chinyu. Now that the target is gone, we can't testify. He needs to be responsible for this. I and Kurigakure village also looked at Danzo, and the meaning was very obvious. After all, in the 3rd Ninja World War at the moment, the Konoha ninja family is the only one who has directly opened up the battlefield with the 4 major ninja villages, and also has a slight upper hand. The war situation has calmed down a little now, and if it is because of these unsettled information, war will break out again. This is probably going to be more than worth it. Hee, don't worry, I won't pursue this matter with you. The 3rd generation Hokage looked at Danzo and Orochimaru with a smile. However, I'm afraid you haven't thought of it until now, the 2 of them have already absconded in secret. Voice fell, and the 3rd generation of Hokage suddenly shook his right hand. The 2 shuriken flew out in an instant. Danzo and Orochimaru, who had been following the team in silence, did not resist at all. Puff puff. A low sonic boom suddenly sounded. Orochimaru and Danzo responded and collapsed into a cloud of white smoke. Only a piece of wood remained and fell to the ground. The expressions of everyone in the 3 major ninja villages present were stagnant, and they became more ashen. This is probably when they rushed over after Uchiha Chinyu penetrated the barrier. Danzo and Orochimaru had already sneaked away. It felt as if someone had been sold, and they were helping people collect money. Teacher, Orochimaru and the others still escaped. We found the secret passage left by Danzo. Tsunade, Shinku Yuhi and others rushed over. 500 or 600 Konoha ninjas also descended from the sky and landed in all directions, showing the rhythm of an encirclement. Konoha ninjas who were several times more numerous than their 3 major ninja villages, I and the others present looked solemn. Counting Sannin and the 3 generations of Hokage, the elite of Konoha, once they really fight, I am afraid that the whole army will be destroyed. I had long expected that Danzo would have this move, and his dark and dirty methods are still the same as before. The third-generation Hokage seemed to have expected it. His eyes flickered, and he looked around the three major ninja villages. Don't worry, this time, I broke into the Konoha Shinobi village without causing too much damage, so our Konoha Shinobi village will not be held accountable. 3 generations of Hokage said. However, I have one thing, I want to remind you once, don't shoot Uchiha Chinyu in private. This time, Danzo and Orochimaru have released a monster from the cage. Without the restraint of Konoha Ninja Village, Chinyu will only be more terrifying. Having said that, the face of the third generation of Hokage became more solemn. The expressions of the people from the 3 major ninja villages froze. I took the lead and said, HMPH, since the third generation of Hokage will not be held accountable, then the enchantment will be removed. As for whether we can find revenge for Uchiha Chinyu, that is our Kumogakure matter. He has nothing to do with Konoha anymore, and I hope that when the time comes, Konoha Shinobumura doesn't get involved. Facing Ai's awe-inspiring words, Lois, who was present, and the ninja from Kurigakure village, although they did not speak, were also secretly pondering. Hee, this is just my kind reminder. Whether you listen to it or not is up to you. The third generation Hokage shook his head with a smile and said, however, it will take some time to remove this barrier, so everyone will wait here for a while. I'll go back to other things first. Those words, the 3 generations of Hokage disappeared out of thin air. Jiraiya quickly followed after seeing this. After a full 3 or 4 minutes, the barrier was finally lifted under the uneasy mood of the 3 major shinobi villages. Let's go. With a gloomy expression on Ai's face, with a big wave of his hand, he led the people from Kumogakure village and quickly plundered away. The remaining villages of Lois and Kurigakure also left quickly. Watching these people leave, the Konoha ninja present secretly breathed a sigh of relief, and invariably looked at Namikaze Minato. Teacher, what are we going to do next? Kakashi flashed in the dark. As Jonin, he also participated in this emergency response. I don't know, but the third generation of Hokage is right. This time Danzo and Orochimaru have opened the cage of monsters. I can only hope that Chinyu has no ambitions, otherwise he may become a problem in the ninja world. Namikaze Minato said solemnly. Kakashi's expression froze, and he said, this time, if he hadn't defected from the village, I'm afraid the 3 major ninja villages would have joined forces to put pressure on him. I think he did this for the sake of Konoha's stability. As soon as these words came out, the face of the Konoha ninja present changed drastically. The face of Kakashi's words, many people hesitated, but they felt that they could not refute.